It's Tuesday afternoon. It's Straight Facts, joined by Lee Gunner. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you,
mate? I'm excited about the season ending. I'm not too excited about how it might be ending with Man City, but very, very excited indeed. Lots to talk about today. You're going to get Lee's reaction to the weekend's football, some big transfer stories, Saka's new deal, Vini Jr.'s potential exit from Real Madrid is being pushed about everywhere. Oh, and of course, Slot to Spurs. They're about to bring in a new Messiah. Lots to delve into. But this is a great comment. Terry, the aim of elite streams is to start on time.
That's not why we smashed the like. That comment is funny.
I like that. That is a funny comment. Make sure like buttons are being hit, by the way. I wanted to start off with your reaction. City, champions of England again. That's 5 in 7 years. Brilliant.
Well, my loan is going very well. I've been on loan for 2 seasons, back-to-back trophies, on for a treble. The 3-peat's in the bag. I've extended for another 2 years because they're the only club in the Premier League that actually try and win and do it at all costs instead of peddling the top 4 push as success. So, yeah, man, they fully deserve it. They've got an elite mentality as a football club, as a fan base, as playing staff, management staff. You know, I think it was Ruben Dias after they got their medals. Because believe it or not, you don't get a medal for coming second, third or fourth. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know. It's unbelievable, really, when you think about it. But yeah, Ruben Dias saying, yeah, now we've won it. Happy days. We're going to come back and win it again next season, or try and win it again next season. And they will come back and try and win it again next season, because as much as people want to take the mick out of Man City or try and make out that their club's not as good as Man City, it's just laughable, Terry. It's just laughable. They are the only club in the Premier League that genuinely try to win everything. Yeah, the rest of the clubs do the very bare minimum. And when it doesn't happen and they don't win anything, they then cry that we can't compete with Man City. Your club does it. My club does it. Tottenham do it. Chelsea haven't won a title since 2017. When have they even bothered to try since? Like, you know, Man United, mate, we'll get onto that in a bit about your manager talking about a final on Thursday, yeah? Like, what's that all about? But Man City, as a club from top to bottom, are probably the best run football club in the world. Yeah, they've got an elite level setup, top to bottom. Their academy makes a fortune every summer. If you go through, I know net spend's not a real thing necessarily, but if you go through their net spend in the last 5 years, yeah, they've done 250 million. So, you know, people can waffle on about they've got all the money and all of this and all of that. They actually sell players for high value, like Leroy Sané. They'll get rid of Cancelo for top dollar. They got rid of Sterling for top dollar. Jesus top dollar. Zinchenko they made money on. Like, do you know what I mean? They get rid of players, and he is a master of getting rid of players when they're right on the border of, should we keep them for another contract or should we just bin them? He's done it so many times at 3 different clubs, mate. Yeah, and you know, there's other clubs out there, like I've just mentioned, that sit there and offer players new contracts when they're running out of a contract, like us with Reece Nelson, Luss with Eddie Nketiah, cost-cutting exercises. Yeah, and then the fans hype it all up at all of these clubs, all the other clubs, they hype it all up. Oh, yes, well, Reece this or Eddie that and David De Gea this and Luke Shaw that. Yeah, you know, it's Eric Dyer's another one. He's signing a new contract with Tottenham. And it's just cost-cutting exercises to help the owner of that football club make money or save money. You look at the fans gas up top 4. Yeah, yay, let's get in the top 4. Let's go to a competition. We're never going to bother trying to win. Yeah, and then when we get knocked out of the top, out of the Champions League, yay, let's go for top 4 again. Let's get back in the competition. We didn't win last time. We won't win again. Yeah, all you're doing is pandering down to owners that everyone claims they don't like.
Well, I call that
demand more. Well, they're the only club that do.
I called out Jason Cundy today because he was kind of having a pop at Newcastle fans celebrating being in the top 4. He said, oh, they're only happy because they've had failure for so long. And I'm like, there's an element of truth to what you're saying, but you're missing the bigger picture. Newcastle are going to compete, not next season, but Newcastle in the next 3 to 4 years, now they have Champions League football, will start to compete with Man City. So I totally understand their fans celebrating being back in it. I understand Liverpool fans celebrating being back in or getting into the Champions League because They can win it, and they will try to win it. I understand what you're saying about a lot of Spurs fans this year have woken up. A lot of Spurs fans like, I don't even want the Champions League. What's the point? We have no chance of winning it, and we won't try to.
As long as they're not getting it.
No, yeah, but I think this was the year. This was the year, I think, that a lot of them realized, hang on, all of this. I think the likes of Sava coming out and calling his own fan base out saying, guys, we attack teams that in their most barren periods of their history win more than us. We attack them. We have got to stop living in cloud cuckoo land with the direction that we're going in. So I kind of look at the celebrating the top four. You've got to contextualize it. Newcastle fans should be happy they're in it because of their trajectory. One of my questions for you, that's centered around Man United, but it's a wider question because it was being spoken about on Monday Night Football last night. Can the likes of Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, we're going to talk about Arsenal a little bit later on in the show, can they next season challenge this Man City team? Do you think the owners of those clubs and the managers of those clubs have the ability and the ambition more so to challenge City to take the crown off them?
Can I just quickly come back to that Newcastle point?
Yeah.
Yeah, Newcastle tweeted out last night, job done. They haven't won a trophy for 69 years, Terry. What do you mean job done? Yeah, they haven't won a trophy for 69 years. What do you mean job done? They had a better team, yeah, a better manager when they were last in the Champions League, and they didn't win it then. Yes, I understand they've got different ownership now, and they're obviously rightly happy that they're back in the big time. Yeah, but ultimately, if they don't go out in the summer, Newcastle, and go and do what's required, they won't be in it again next season, and they won't be having a go in it this season because they'll get knocked out real quick being in pot 4. They need to go and strengthen. So as well as it is that they've called, they're in Champions League, and they're all happy because they were 19th, 18 months ago. What phase is Eddie Howe in? Does anyone know? Because he's qualified for a competition in his first full season that we couldn't. It's took 3 years. But either way, onto the actual question you asked. Nobody is going to compete with Man City next season. Because Man City, like I just said a minute ago, are the only football club that do what is required to go and win the title. And the people that are in the chat crying about, oh, they're financial doping. Well, that's yet to be proven. Yeah, that's yet to be proven. So if you want to have this loser mentality, yeah, cool. Have this. Oh, yeah, they're financial doping. No, Terry, I'm not having it. I'm sick and tired of top 4 being built up to be a great thing. I'm not having it. Yeah. Well, at the end of the season, there's only one team that get winners' medals. That was Manchester City. You don't get a winner's medal for coming 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And our manager, by the way, Arsenal's manager, Mikel Arteta, giving it in an interview the other day, yeah, that, the same people that predicted us to finish 6th and 7th are now saying that finishing 2nd's a failure. Hello, Mr. Arteta. You get the same thing finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th, mate. Yeah, absolutely nothing. You don't get a title for it, don't get a medal for it, and you don't go on a trophy parade for it, mate. Yeah, so don't sit there trying to mug fans off. Yeah, then he's waffling about a dog. We'll come to that in a bit. But anyway, my point is, my point is, nobody's going to compete with Man City next season because they're too busy getting giddy about top 4. They won't put pressure on the ownership of their football clubs. Yeah, we're sitting there linked to all sorts of like wonderful players. But ultimately, if we only sign one top tier player, whether that's Rice, who some people don't even think is top tier. Now, I think he's quality, but some people don't, or Caicedo, but then drop a couple of average footballers in there, everyone will just dress it up as great. When people are talking about thin squads at every club and, Man City have got a super squad. Yeah, maybe Man City understand the aim of elite sport. Yeah, maybe Man City's owners actually want to be successful, not just cream TV money. Yeah, and advertising money and sponsorship money. Maybe they actually want to win. Yeah, because their fan base want to win. And I'll tell you now, if Man City don't win anything next season, their fans will start getting a bit edgy and start saying, next season, not the season coming, if they win nothing next season, the following season, Pep's got to deliver something or they want him out. Yeah, obviously they're not going to not win anything next season because they're the only team that actually try and win stuff. But my point is, no other club will bother. Because when Liverpool, and people sit there and think this is weird me saying that when Liverpool have competed and got 1 point behind them a few times, yeah? If Liverpool really, really, really wanted to win that league, they would have gone out and bought a few more extra players because they were 1 point behind twice. Twice they were 1 point behind, right? And they've been in a title race for 4 out of the last 5 seasons. They really, really wanted to go out and win a title, mate. They would have gone out and done an extra couple of 100 million over that last 5 years or over the last 3 years. And they would have really kicked on. They don't. They're not interested because they know that Jurgen Klopp is maximising what he can out of that club on bare minimum resources that they're giving him, right? They had the same starting 11 for 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, pretty much. Firmino, Salah, Mane up front. Yeah, Henderson in midfield with Fabinho. It's the same 11 every week. The same backline every week. The same keeper every week. So when people want to talk about thin squad, well, how comes they weren't? How comes they were trying to compete? If they really wanted to win it, they would have done more. Man United, Terry, as much as people are laughing and taking the mick out of you lot, you actually have the financial power to go and do it. Yeah, and you can do it. Yeah, you've spent more than most clubs on the planet. But the problem with your fan base is they're happy gassing up Marcus Rashford into oblivion for having a purple patch. So we're going to come on to Neymar and the other players later, yeah?
Right? I think on your point, though, just to step in for a second, I understand what you're saying about Liverpool. They can be happy to be in the Champions League because they know they can win it. If they really wanted to overtake City, I mean, they did overtake City. There was an 18-month period where they were better than City. They didn't continue to invest, and you're right. But where I think
that's the point.
I understand that. But where I think it's different for Newcastle and Man United, if the Glazers leave. So if the Glazers stay, I take back what I'm saying about United right now. But with our new owners that should come in when the Glazers eventually make a decision, because what they're doing right now is a disgrace. And with the Newcastle owners, they're going to continue to invest to improve their teams and try and take on City, especially Newcastle. There is no way, shape, or form they're not going to spend to do it. There's another team that isn't being mentioned because they won't compete next year because they're too far behind. But Chelsea's new owners will spend to compete with them. They just need to get better football people running the goddamn football club because they've done £700 million in a season. So there are teams out there that want to do it. It isn't just what you spend to compete with City, because United have done that. It's having the right people around to build the correct culture and ethos at the club. Because as much as City have spent, the way they run the football club is goddamn elite. And I do think Man United, with completing the job of getting back into the Champions League on Thursday against Chelsea, Newcastle doing it last night against Leicester, there is an element of job done because there was no way this season we were winning the Premier League. But I believe the managers of both clubs, I believe the managers that are in there now with what they're trying to build is they are building towards competing with City and beating City to league titles. And it may not happen in the first year, but I believe being in the Champions League will help us. One, finances are important over a longer period of time because both sponsors and direct income from the Champions League increase with that money. That money needs to be pumped into the club and pumped into the infrastructure. Secondly, being in the Champions League, I think, can help make you a better team. It's a higher level of competition. It's a better place to test yourself. City themselves have said it this week. They love being in all the competitions. It keeps them sharp and keeps them alert. And I believe that both Newcastle and Man United, over the next 12 to 18 to 24 months, will develop teams that are moving towards being able to win them. So I understand us being happy being in it because I don't believe that the managers we have and the way, especially Newcastle right now, the way they're being run, the ceiling is just top four and we're happy. So I do think there's a happy medium there when you talk about it.
You just said getting in the Champions League can be good. It help you get better as a football club, better income streams, etc., up against better teams and that. Well, the last time you got in there was with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who, by the way, has amassed more points than your manager's going to amass this season in the Premier League.
Not in his first season, he didn't.
Well, that's irrelevant. In his last season, when he was at his worst, in
his last season, we've surpassed it, and in his first season,
his last full season. Yeah, his last full season, he got you in the Champions League on 74 points.
But
then he got you straight in the Europa League.
You've got to judge Ole. No. You've got to judge Ole on what he went out on. You've got to judge the manager from what he took over from. If, for instance, Ten Hag came in last summer, where we finished second, I think it was second in the league and lost that Europa League final, and took over from there, the expectations this year would be higher. But he took over a team and a club that was on its arse after having its worst season in 40 years. We can't suddenly start judging. Ten Hag based on Ole's third season when he's not in his third season. He's overhauling everything that was built before him, and he's got to be judged Hold on.
Terry, I understand that. I accept that. I get that. But you're saying he's overhauling everything that he inherited and blah, blah, blah. Yes. He's just giving David De Gea a new contract, Luke Shaw a new contract. They have been at that football club. Hold on. They have been at that football club way too long and been part of every single embarrassing defeat that your football club has had, including the biggest defeat against Liverpool ever in your history. Yeah. And what did he do? The very next game, he started the same 11 again. Right. Then in that particular game that you started next, you dropped a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 against Sevilla at home, right? Then went away to him and got battered, right?
I know all of this. You label off the games that have gone wrong. However, you're not reading the
you're
news.
making up Champions League is going to make you better
No,
on 10
but it will. Again, it may not. It may foul in the end, but I believe that's what he's aiming.
All the players are still here.
So what you're alluding from my point is this: no one has stated that in the space of a year, every player that we don't want anymore will be cleared out. It's going to take time for the manager to clear people out. You actually read the news surrounding David De Gea. What do you mean? Why? You're telling me you can sell 23 players in one summer and buy 23?
Forest did it, mate.
Are they
28?
But you've said that hang on a minute, but you also state that teams that don't win the Premier League, like Nottingham Forest, are failing.
Well, did I say they've achieved anything? You just can you get rid of 23 players? Well, Nottingham Forest did.
So you believe this summer Man United should get rid of 10, 15 players and buy the 10, 15 more. You think that's the right way to operate?
Yeah.
Why
are you laughing? What's so funny here?
No one does that and wins.
Nobody does that and wins. Okay, cool. Go and tell me how many players Antonio Conte in his first season signed, and got to a Europa League final and then tell me how many Sevilla brought that summer and actually won the Europa League final against Inter Milan. Tell me the answer. Tell me the answer.
So winning the Europa League for Man United is success. We're not even in that.
Not winning it. Would you rather win it or not win it?
Well,
Terry. You've asked me who's done it and won stuff.
I'm not.
You haven't asked me. Okay. Listen, success is not attached solely to and different levels of success per club. You either win or you don't. You asked me how many clubs can do that and win. Well, Inter Milan. Why are you then? Hang on a minute. So if it's about
Atletico's done it as well. Hang on a minute. But you're now attacking my manager. He's won a trophy this year. But you should be lauding up my manager because he's won a trophy this year with the squad that you said weren't good enough. You also said after we got beat by had that embarrassing result that we'd fall off and wouldn't even make the top 4.
Hold on. Everyone gets predictions wrong, Terry. We're talking about the basic facts here. You said what club can get rid of all them players and go and win stuff and achieve stuff. Well, I've just given you 3 clubs that have done it. Go and tell me how many players Antonio Conte signed.
So again, Sevilla in 2020 signed 11 players in the summer.
11 players. How many did they get rid of?
So not 15, and they sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So there was a 16-player overhaul.
But you said no.
And they won the Europa League in the first season.
Lee, specifically.
What are you chatting about?
You said 15 out, 15 in. That's 5 out. So you're.
Go and tell me how many Atletico Madrid signed. Or in fact, go to Inter Milan. Go to Inter Milan.
What season?
The first season under Antonio Conte.
What season?
They didn't win it, but the second season they did. How many did they sign?
What season? Tell me. There's loads.
How many players has Ten Hag signed?
What season is it, Lee? You've told me to check a season. What year?
The season Antonio Conte won the league.
What year was it? Tell me what year it was, so I can. There's multiple years.
2021.
2021.
2021. 2019, 20. I don't know. He was there. First season he was there. He signed about 15 players.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Got to the Europa League final and lost. The following season, he won the league.
So the first season he was there. Okay. So the first season he was there, he signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He signed 8 players in 1920 season. 8 players.
Go the following
and he sold. Wait. Let's do it slowly. Calm down. Let's cook. So he signed 9, and he sold 1, 2 in the summer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again. He bought 9, but sold 7. You said sell 15, buy 15. Okay. You've not got me an example of that yet.
Hold on. Hang on. That's again another 16-player spin.
Stop, Lee. I said, show me an example of a manager in one summer has sold 23 players and bought 23. You can't do it.
Terry,
it takes time. So you're already stop. You're already agreeing with me. It took.
The mental gymnastics here is insane.
Lee, you need to let me finish, right? You turned around and said 23 out, 23 in. Then you've just stated that Antonio Conte did it over a couple of seasons. You just had a go at me for saying it's going to take a few seasons for my manager to clear players out and bring new people in.
Perfect.
You're literally giving the
players did he get rid of in the summer?
Who?
Ten Hag.
Let me go and find out. Let me go and check. I don't have to stop my head because I didn't count it. Let's go and have a little look. How many you got rid of this summer? So we've just seen there. Your first year of Antonio Conte was 7. Let's see how many Ten Hag got rid of in his first year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you got rid of 8 players. Yeah,
8 players.
How many of them are coming back to the club this summer?
None. They're all gone. They're all
sold. So Diallo's not coming back from the Championship, no?
Diallo, I'm not counting loan players. No. Diallo wasn't included in the 8 I mentioned. I haven't mentioned any player coming back to the club. I didn't mention. You include if you include loans of players coming, I didn't do that for any manager. So players that he sold or refused to sign new deals was 8 players. So he let go of more. So he let go of more. And,
Can you name the 8 players? Who are the 8 players?
Pereira, Bailly, Chong. Actually, remove Bailly. He was a loan fee. Sorry, they put it in the wrong section. So 7, not 8. I apologize. Because they put him in the sold thing. So Pereira, Chong, Mata, Lingard, Matip, Pogba. He said no to a new deal for, and Edison Cavani. So that's how many went out. And in terms of purchases and players in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he signed 7 and got rid of 7, which is quite a lot in 1 year. I would have probably liked another signing or 2, but we couldn't get those deals over the line. So, example again, and go back to what we said. Show me a
15-player swing.
Show me a no, you didn't say 15-player swing. You said I'm
comparing it to what I've just said about the other clubs that had 15-player swings.
You said at the start of the debate a 46-player swing by 23 out, 23 in. Doesn't happen, Lee. Doesn't happen.
It should do, shouldn't it, Terry? Because your club's a joke.
Why does nobody
You've got
do
the
that?
facilities to do it. You've got the cash to do it.
There isn't, Lee. No club has ever done that, so we wouldn't do. But back to the original point, I believe...
Well, Nottingham Forest have done it.
What, 23 in, 23 out?
They signed 28 players this season.
Do you think Man United should base their transfer model on Nottingham Forest?
No, I think what you should be doing is raising the standards off the floor to be not giving Luke Shaw and De Gea new contracts to do cost-cutting exercises.
Please let me respond in full, though, to those things. I don't know where you get your Man United information from. Firstly, Luke Shaw's had a very good season for Man United.
And 1 in 10. Well done.
Okay, but I believe under this manager, he'll continue to play well. David De Gea, his deal is reducing his payment, and the club is looking at a new goalkeeper. The risk that Man United can't afford to take this summer is to allow David De Gea to leave and not be able to land and secure the level of goalkeeper they want. There is still, and like I said at the start, remember what I said about we need new owners. There is still an uncertainty around Man United and what we're going to do this summer because we don't know who owns us right now. So what Man United can't afford to do is allow David De Gea to leave, who is still a good goalkeeper, and then end up with not enough money to bring in an adequate and better replacement. Then you end up in a much weaker situation goalkeeper-wise. So we are just keeping our powder dry on that. It's not the ideal way to run, but this is what happens when you have the legacy of the Glazers. Because De Gea, you're right, should have been replaced 2 or 3 years ago, but it's a problem that the manager has now inherited, and it takes time to resolve. And they will resolve it.
I understand that, Terry, but you're saying it takes time to resolve, but you're giving him a new contract when there's hundreds of goalkeepers around the world that are available to purchase for Man United.
So I look at it this way.
The cheapest way to do it is give him a new contract.
But I look at it this way around when it comes to David De Gea. I don't think that look, he made a bad mistake in the West Ham game, shot stopping. Most of his mistakes and issues are he's playing out from the back. However, when it comes to shot stopping, he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. He's taken a massive
shot stopping.
Okay, and he's still very, very good at it. I'm happy with that approach. I still want us to go out and buy a new goalkeeper, but like I've said, there's a reason that we're doing it. But back to the original point. I want to go back to that now around nobody challenging Manchester City. I understand, but it's not. I understand why, but you're not addressing the point I'm making. You're taking it back to the old Man United. We are going to get new owners. Like I said, if we stick with the Glazers, I agree with you on Man United, but we are selling our club. I don't believe the new owners buying us are going to allow this to happen. Newcastle, you're saying shouldn't celebrate top 4. Do you not believe Newcastle are going to invest to try and win the Premier League?
Not next season, no.
You don't think they're going to continue to invest to keep improving?
Not next season, no. You asked me a question. I don't care about 10 years down the road, Terry, and fantasy. I'm talking about this now.
So you don't think this summer they're going to invest to improve the team to be better than it is this year?
No. You're now changing the question. You said you don't think they're going to invest to win the Premier League.
Okay. Let me expand the question then. So you don't think being in the Champions League, increasing their income, which means they can spend more money because at the moment they're restricted because their income's lower. You don't think being in the Champions League, they're going to take that money and invest it to grow to a point to win the Premier League?
Well, they're not restrictive, firstly, because under financial fair play, they'll have 3 years to balance their books. So they could have gone out and spent even more money.
How they balance the books by increasing income. Champions League football does that.
Yeah, which is great. We're not talking about that. You said, your question, which you've now edited 3 times, your question was, do you think they will spend enough money to win the Premier League title? No, is the answer. They won't. I ain't interested in 4 years down the road, Terry.
But you should be, because what you said 2 weeks ago on this show is the reason that you're not a fan of Brighton is because they take all the money they make and keep it, and they don't keep investing to keep improving the squad.
Yeah.
Now you're sort of disregarding Newcastle for doing exactly what you asked for 2 weeks ago, is that teams should be taking all the money they make and investing it in their squad to continue to get better. Now you're basically saying, I don't care what they do until they win the league. But you're shutting them down. You're shutting them down for celebrating, achieving additional income to invest into their team to get better, which is what you said winning clubs do. So what do you want?
They could have spent 500 million in the summer. They didn't.
Why could they spend that much?
Because as long as they don't try twisting my words here, yeah? Right? Because I know that's what you're going to do. They could have spent £500 million in the summer, right? Because they would have 3 years to balance the books, right? What you're saying is they're going to do it gradually over 3 years. Why? They could have gone out, spent £500 million in the summer, challenged for a title this season, qualified for Champions League as winners of the league. And if they didn't win the league, they could have come extremely close to winning it. They would have got the income anyway. But they didn't, did they? So all they're doing is longing the process over the next 3 to 5 years, doing it gradually, baby steps. Why? Brighton's the same. And the reason I brought up Brighton the other week, they made over 100 million this year on TV revenue. And they've made £84 million in transfer profit. Why haven't they invested that back in their team? Because they might have won the cup. They might be in the cup final now. They might have been further up the table competing for a title.
I understand that, right? And that's Brighton, and I think it's a fair challenge. But that's not what Newcastle were doing. Now, you're stating Newcastle...
Which is why they won challenge, which is the answer to the question.
Okay, but that wasn't my question. I changed my question because I was expanding it because you misinterpreted it as, and I understand why, because I didn't explain it fully, that next year will they challenge for the Premier League title? I don't think they will either. But I think that the reason they're allowed to celebrate being in the top 4, which is what this conversation is about, so let's not take it off and reframe it. I think they should be allowed to celebrate that because all the money they bring in, all the little achievements and stepping stones they make is all going to build the building blocks to get where they are now. And why do I believe that? Because it's exactly what Manchester City did. It took City the best part of 6 or 7 years to develop a team, a squad, an infrastructure and a culture at their club to be able to accommodate a manager like Pep and become this successful. They, in my opinion, couldn't have employed Pep in the summer of 2009 and been as good over his first 7 years as we've seen him, because you've got to build a foundation at a football club. You've seen what happened at Chelsea when you spend £700 million in a season with no foundation, with no philosophy, with the wrong people running elements of your football club. It falls down and it breaks apart, and that can't be ignored. Newcastle are building their infrastructure. So shutting them down and kind of belittling them for celebrating a very big milestone in their quest to get to the very top. I don't think any Newcastle fan or anybody in that Newcastle board, the same as I believe the new Man United owners, coupled with our manager we've currently got, I don't think any of them are satisfied with top 4. But they also understand what they took over, what they inherited, and the state of play when they arrived, and there are stepping stones to this. I'm back in training now. I'm feeling fully healthy.
That's great. Come back to me when they've got to the top of the stepping stones.
So you don't think
jumping around? Sorry, Terry. This whole top 4 job done. All that. Listen, I don't dislike Newcastle. I've got a lot of Newcastle fans in my chat every day. Yeah, I like Newcastle as a city. I like the stadium. Their fans are crazy. Yeah, brilliant. But this top 4 job done, like, get in the bin. Sorry, mate, not for me. Get in the bin, top 4. And this is why they will not compete next season for the title. This is why Arsenal won't, Man United won't, Tottenham, Chelsea, or Liverpool. And until all these fans get this loser BS top 4 rubbish out of their head, which, by the way, doesn't exist in all these other countries around the world. Oh, the top 4 race is heating up. Nobody cares in other countries about top 4. Yeah, it's a thing that's been pushed and brainwashing fans in English football, yeah, through Sky Sports and other media outlets. Yeah, to peddle this crap that you get a trophy or some sort of medal, yeah, and there's 5, 6 winners in the top 6 chatting about. Yeah, you don't get a medal for finishing 6th and getting Europa League. You don't get a medal for finishing 3rd, 2nd, 4th. You get a medal and a trophy for winning something.
A question. So because you live in Spain, so none of the teams that finish 4th or 3rd celebrate being in the Champions League. The fans don't celebrate.
Terry, it's not all over the TV and in the newspapers and all their fans talking and tweeting about
it. That wasn't my question. Do the fans celebrate it?
Do the fans celebrate it? I don't know, Terry. I ain't sitting there watching all their fans online. But what I don't see is it peddled down their throats every single day about the top 4 race. Do you genuinely think, yeah, that let's say Real Sociedad are currently 4th, I think, Villarreal are 5th, right? For them clubs, oh yeah, they'll probably cheer it and their fans will be knocking one out over the moon about it. Do you think Atletico, Real and Barca give 2 fucks about top 4? They want to win the league. I don't see any of their fans speaking about top four.
I get they want to. I get that Barca want to win the league, but of course they want to be in the Champions League, so they've got an opportunity to win it the following season.
Hold on, sorry. The top 3 teams in terms of size in Spain, Barca, Real Madrid, and Atleti. Yeah, they're the 3 clubs, right? If we're going to put that on par to the top 3 in England, that's Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United in no particular order. Yeah, in terms of size. Yeah, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. Our fans are sitting all over social media every single day, banging on about top 4. Do you see Barca, Real Madrid, and Atleti fans on social media banging on about top 4? You don't. There's the difference.
I mean, I don't. In fairness, what I will say is it's a fair point. I can't answer it because I'm not on like the TLs. I can't even read Spanish, so I don't know what they're saying. Like I'm not following them, but I have seen. Like I remember the outrage last season from some Barca fans that I saw in videos of them maybe not being in the top 4. They wanted to be in the Champions League because they always want the opportunity to win it and improve. And obviously they had the financial difficulty. So not being in the Champions League financially would impact them in a bad way. But I look at it this point of view. I'm not going out. I understand what you've said about Arsenal in the past, and I get what Spurs fans have said. But I believe Man United and Newcastle being in the Champions League is a big stepping stone for them. And I believe with the right recruits at Man United this summer, we've got an opportunity in the Champions League next year. So, of course, I'm going to be happy because I tweeted it earlier and I mean it.
3 hopes, mate. Bob Hope, no open envelope. You ain't winning nothing in the Champions League next season.
You would have been part of that same group of people at the start of this season that would have said you won't make it into the top 4 and you're not going to win any trophies.
Do you genuinely believe you're going to win the Champions League?
That isn't what I said, is it? That isn't what I said.
You said you got a chance to win it. You ain't got no chance to win it.
I believe. So, hang on. So Man United this summer, and I'm going to use names of players we're linked with. If we sign Costa in goal, Kim Min-jae at the back, a Frankie De Jong or Caicedo in the middle, and Harry Kane up top, you believe there is no chance Man United could challenge for the Champions League next year?
No chance whatsoever.
Why?
Because you've still got Luke Shaw stinking it out, doing dumb shit every now and again. Handballs and giving away pens and free kicks on the edge of the box because he can't defend. He ain't that good. Yeah. You've still got Bruno Fernandes just being bang average. Yeah. You've still got Marcus Rashford going on a purple patch and then disappearing for 3 months. Yeah. You've still got the little fidget spinner you spent 100 million quid on that, mate, no disrespect. My daughter probably weighs more than him. Like, do you know what I'm saying? My daughter's probably got more physicality than him on the football pitch. Like, you have got no chance of winning the Champions League with all them signings. No chance whatsoever. You ain't. You need a hell of a lot more than that, mate. Yeah, which your club won't do. Your fans would be happy if you signed all them players and around and round and round Man United go again. That's it.
Listen, we'll see. So when you say we've got no chance, how far will Man United go next year?
It depends who you get in your group. You might not even get out of the group. Let's be real here. You couldn't even beat Villarreal in the final, mate.
I understand that, but we, I understand
could be in the semi.
You're saying we won't win it, so how far do you think Man United?
Oh, sorry, I forgot you got Sancho stinking it out and then going on holiday for 3 months.
Okay, so how far do you think Man United will go next year?
I'd say the furthest Man United could get in that Champions League is at very best, quarterfinal.
Okay, fair enough. And we'll see what happens with it. We'll see who we sign. We'll see how things progress. I look at it this way. The way we were written off at the beginning of the season, we've exceeded expectations based on predictions this year, 110%. I'm already seeing us being written off and everything again next year. And we have a good summer. We're going to be an even better team. There's no doubt.
This is the thing, Jerry. When you're saying about exceeding expectations, whose expectations are you exceeding? Fans that don't support your club, ex-players of... So when you're doing videos on Gary Neville and people are crying about Gary Neville, Arsenal fans doing bits about Gary Neville, who cares what Gary Neville says? He's a Man United fan. Why does Arsenal fans care what Gary Neville's got to say? Genuinely, who cares?
Because discourse on football is what we do. So I care about anybody's opinion. I care about all my viewers, and half these viewers don't even use their real names. I care about their opinions. I care about your opinion. I care about your opinions on Man United. That's why I ask you questions. I care about.
No, I understand that. My point is, why you are allowed to actually go above and beyond. What were your expectations for Man United this season? Genuinely,
I predicted us coming 7th. I didn't believe. I thought it was such a big task. I thought year one's going to be a real struggle for the manager. I didn't expect us to be as good as we were. I said, look, if we could sneak a cup, that would be amazing. But I didn't think we would, and that was based on how poor we were, the state of the squad, the issues that were going on in the summer. And there's a lot for him to do. So we've exceeded my expectations. So when I say expectations, I don't remember very many pundits, rivals, YouTubers, content creators predicting us to be anywhere near the top 4, let alone...
Perfect. Can I just cut in there? Perfect. And therein lies the problem. Yeah, because everyone was just, oh, well, we're finished 7th this season. It'll be all right. Why weren't you all rioting? Why are you all turning up at the stadium every week?
I can explain that. I can explain that. So this is the difference between you and I. I believe that we were in such a state, such a problem, it was going to take time to fix. A lot of people have said this year we wouldn't be in the top 4 if Chelsea and Spurs and Liverpool are at their absolute best. And there is an element of truth to that. However, if we were it's only half the truth. Because if we were as bad as everybody predicted, those other 3 teams losing wouldn't have helped us because we'd have also lost that many games and also be sitting in and around the same amount of points as them, right? Because Chelsea not being good doesn't make Man United win games. Doesn't help us score goals, keep clean sheets, whatever Chelsea do, even though they're out the way. Because if we were as bad as everybody expected, we'd still be there. So I didn't expect those teams, though, to be as poor as they have been this year. So I thought there'd be improvement. And what I actually said is, I want to see a style of football. I want to see us get better. I want to see us improve. But I just couldn't see us breaking past those teams because of where they were at the end of last season, the summers they had, and the progression I expected within them. So that's the thing with the prediction. You can want your team to get better, but what Man United can't control is how much better everybody else gets. Let's just say next year Arsenal do improve, and you get 100 points, but City get even better and get 102. There's not much more you could ask from your team, right? So that's why that is. So I get what your point is.
No, that's great. But then how many points in January when we came back from the World Cup, right? And we started getting back into Premier League football on Boxing Day in January, when the transfer window opened, how many points off the top were you?
Don't remember. I can go and check. I don't remember off the top of my head. Probably about 10, something like that. 10 to 12, something like that.
Well, let's see, because you can pull up the stats real quick. I don't know where you find all of these stats, but you pull them up real quick.
The Premier League website. They're on the Premier League website. Actually, you know what's probably actually the best ones is Who Scored, probably the best website, because what you can do on Who Scored is you can change the Premier League by dates, the table by dates. You put in the beginning of the season. So what date? So you want what custom date?
From 1st of January the 1st. But how many points off the top were you?
Hang on, let's go and have a little look on Jan the 1st. So off the top, we were 11 points off the top.
Okay, and where were you in the league?
We were 4th.
Okay, so when you were sat 4th, 11 points off the top, did your expectations stay at 7th, or did they raise?
No, because we were a better team by then than I expected. So I looked at it as I think we can make it into the top 4. By then, I think we would have been in the final by then. I expected us to go on and win the Carabao Cup, and we had Barca we hadn't played Barca yet. We were coming up.
I don't think he was in the final then. I don't think he was. I think there was still another round, maybe.
Maybe. I don't quite remember. There's so much football this year. I don't quite remember it all. But I expected, but even when we're in the semis, I expected us to go on and win the Carabao Cup. So, of course, my expectations in terms of the situation we were in had changed. But we were already at that point exceeding what a lot of people believed in the summer, yes.
Okay. So at that point, when all the Man United fans and all the pundits and everybody else were all saying 6th, 7th, etc., and you were currently sat 4th, did you not think as a fan base that you should have been on the Glazers to go and spend another couple of 100 million and maybe push you on and catch Man City or Arsenal who were top?
Absolutely. So
why didn't anyone do it then?
So again, I can't speak for other men.
Nobody did it. Everyone was happy. You're overachieving.
Let me answer your questions for a minute. So we're talking about me and you. We're having an intellectual debate here. So I can talk about what I said. I was fuming at the Glazers because if they hadn't have wasted so much money on previous projects, we were absolutely almost zero money left for transfers in that window. If we will run better over you only like looking at the here and now, but you have to sometimes look back. So when people use weird excuses like, I don't care what my club spends, it's not my money, it's honestly the dumbest logic in football. Because if you hemorrhage money, at some point you run out in the future. You know, we've all got our own budgets at home. If you just spend money willy-nilly, eventually you run out and you don't have money for things you need. We were in a position in January where if we went out and bought 2 top players, a striker was definitely needed. We ended up with Weghorst, and a top-class midfielder was needed. And we ended up with Sabitzer. We'd have gone out and bought a world-class midfielder and a world-class striker. We could have closed that gap further on Man City. We could have definitely gone a little bit further, maybe even gone on to win the Europa League. But so, yeah, there were Man United fans. There were 2 or 3 protests around that time.
Well, they weren't then because you ended up with Weghorst and Sabitzer. That went well, didn't it?
But we know the process don't. But hang on, mate. But listen, we know the process don't work. So I've been calling them out for years. Protests have no impact. Pulling money away works. That's what I've done. So I can only be held accountable.
I understand that.
Lee, I can only be held accountable.
Protest, but hold on, Terry. People are saying protests happen at the stadium, and then they'll walk straight in the stadium to watch the game.
And I agree with that. We haven't got to debate Lee.
You're happy there, all happy there.
Lee, me and you don't need to debate that because we agree on it. So let's push that aside. We agree with each other on that.
No, I understand. No, I get that. But there's loads of people in your chat saying, "Oh, but we were protesting." Yeah, then walking in the ground.
Exactly. So let's put that aside because me and you agree on that. What we're focusing on is what me and you said, did, think, believe. And for me, that's why I focus on them. I've done everything in my power tangible to get rid of the Glazers, but I'm one man. And not enough Man United fans have had the stomach to walk away from the club and pull their money. They'd have gone 10 years ago. How do we know that? They're looking to sell now because the liquid cash has dried up and they think they can capitalize and maximize the sale. So, look, it's one of those situations. And that's why I said it, and I caveated right at the start, half an hour ago, when I said, for us to challenge City, the Glazers have got to go. If they don't, my belief that there's a much lower ceiling on this team than what we're creating. And if they go, especially if we get the Qataris, we will spend and we will invest and we'll bring the right people in to run the club to catch up and challenge City. Doing it is another question. And a big elephant in the room on this conversation is they have the best manager in the world. And they have a manager who is on course to become the greatest of all time. And that's me saying that as a Man United fan. If he keeps winning like this for another 20 years, he'll surpass everybody before him. So that's another massive obstacle as well, which is a conversation.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. But at the same time, Terry, it's not like you're some tin pot little football club. Yeah, you've outspent pretty much most clubs on the planet for the last 20 years.
Yeah, in the wrong direction. But
you're wrong with it. Yeah, you're spending stupid amounts of money on giving David De Gea a new contract. Why? Because it's cheaper to keep him. And this comes back to what I was saying about people. Let me finish now. Let me finish.
Lee, I understand where you're coming from, but you're going back over old ground. We've stated.
I'm not going over anything. She didn't know what I was going to say unless you can predict the future. And if you can, I'll have the lottery numbers.
But your point about De Gea again is right. And I've said I understand where you're coming from. But the reason we're doing that is because the Glazers are still here. But we've just had a 10-minute discussion about them. We don't need to go over it again. I agree with you on that point.
No problem. I couldn't give a shit about Man United because they ain't my football club.
What you're doing is, though, you're missing my overarching point when it comes to Man United. Everything I've said is precursored with if we get new owners. So let's not go on about what the Glazers will and won't do because that's irrelevant to the point. Because you're right.
Terry, it's got nothing to do with you're saying you can't progress under that ownership.
No.
Yeah? Well, Fergie was winning you trophies under that ownership, mate. Titles under that ownership. You know
what?
Right, hold on. Fergie was winning you multiple titles under that ownership. So go and find a manager that can do the same then.
It's not about the manager.
Oh, so if you took Fergie out when he was winning them titles and put Ten Hag in, like this version of Ten Hag now, you're telling me he still would have dominated then and won the leagues?
So let me tell you why it's not.
Yes or no? Answer the question.
I'm going to answer the question. So the reason why without Fergie was obviously one of the greatest managers of his generation, did a great job. But Fergie was a combination of two things you don't get now. He was the coach of the team, the head coach, but he was also the guy that run the football club along with David Gill. So the Glazers, when Fergie was there, they of course they signed off on the signings being made. But David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson run the football club in a brilliant way. The club hasn't had people running it well for a decade. How you are run and how you are structured, that's the foundation. Without that, even the best managers in the world will struggle. You need a very, very good foundation. We've seen what's happened with. So that's my point. So
I accept that. You still signed world-class Casemiro. Yeah, you signed him for 60 mil. Yes. Right? Let's not forget that under Fergie, by the way, and David Gill, these special two people. Yeah, you signed Bebe. Yeah, you were signing players like Bebe at your football club, mate. Yeah, like, let's not just dress this up. We could look. You know all the players you've signed that are dross, mate. Yeah. There's a whole list of them. So let's not pretend that they were they had magic beans and they just spread their magic beans. All these top players turned up because it weren't like that. You signed a lot of crap under them, mate.
Of course we did.
Right? But my point is, under this ownership, you can still compete with Man City.
We can.
Just need to go and get a manager that can do it. And that manager is not Ten Hag.
And it's not just that manager. You're not looking at who runs the club as well. And your own point has been debunked. Because it's the people running the club now that, like you just said, they want to keep De Gea because it's cheaper. That's the people running the club. So you've debunked your own point.
Why doesn't Ten Hag call that out then?
Because he wants to manage Man United. Now that's a fair point.
Well, okay, so perfect. Stop right there. Let me speak.
That isn't what we're talking about.
No,
Lee.
No. Okay, I'll go and get my ashtray and I'll have a sit. I'll be back in 1 second, mate.
Lee, but that isn't what you said. 1 minute you're saying it's only about the manager. The next minute you're saying, but the club are cutting corners to save money. Now, if you want to say that Ten Hag's a yes man for not calling them out, that's a different conversation. But 1 minute Ten Hag's a problem, the next minute it's who's running the club. And for me, it's that. In terms of
Terry,
bro, just in
Terry, you've just answered a question, yeah, right, that I asked, and then you won't let me follow up on that, right, on your answer. Ten Hag is not the manager to win you a title. And if you agree with that, yeah or nay, I don't really care, to be fair. Okay. But Ten Hag is not the manager to win you a title.
Right.
If you think so too, then you shouldn't even want him here at Man United. You shouldn't want him here, right? If you think he is the man to win you a title, then cool, fully back it. But this is the same guy that you've just sat there and said to me, he won't call out the owners who are paying him because he wants to manage Man United. So you're telling me that if you don't agree, if you agree and think he won't ever win Man United a title, he's only there to boost his own ego. That is what you were telling me. To boost his own ego to manage Man United. Because he is doing their work via the media, the club narrative of cost cutting and saving money. Go and get a manager. Look at what was his name? Ragnick called out your whole football club. He was going to be the director of football. What did he do? Got sacked. Why? Because he told the truth. Which is why all of these losers that have infested football, whether it be in the fan bases, whether it be coaches, whether it be footballers, or whether it be board members that have all infested football, they're only there for their own ego and their own personal achievement. They couldn't care less. Do you think Ten Hag cares about Man United? Of course he don't. He's only there for his ego, mate. Yeah, which is why he's not going to sit in a press conference and call out David De Gea, and he's not going to strip Harry Maguire of the captain's armband. He's just going to take it off him and give it to Bruno and sit him on the bench. He should have been calling Harry Maguire out the day he got there. Not my captain. He ain't my captain. This guy is. Instead, he is another club puppet for the Glazers. But because he's got a trophy this season, congratulations, that's the aim. He's won you a trophy. Everyone's now going to fall into this. But when you actually deep it and look at some of the crap he's come out with this season, he's saying Thursday is a final. Big Man United going from fourth to fourth. Wow. So if you don't think that guy can win you a title, you should all want him out.
So a couple of things on your points there. I really want to I'm not even attacking your points. I want to understand your logic. So firstly, he has called out the club. He said very recently in a press conference that we need to spend. We're Man United. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We need to invest. This team needs to improve. We need to buy better players in the summer. So he has said that. He hasn't said it in an abrupt, abrasive way, but he has called out and said the club needs to spend. So he's done exactly what you've asked for. He's done that. He's also spoke about new goalkeepers and new positions that are needed and to challenge people. He's done it in a diplomatic way. Your point that you just said, I mean, also we've seen your point about should have come in and said not my captain and slagged him off. I don't want to see that. I don't think it's right for the dressing room. Guardiola, when he came, just because I think it's too abrasive. I don't think it creates the harmony you need in the dressing room. Pep Guardiola, Pep Guardiola came into Man City and wasn't publicly slagging off Joe Hart, but got rid of him because he knew he wasn't good enough. Wasn't publicly slagging him off, but he did it he was kind of nice about him publicly, but behind the scenes moved him on. Now, at the end of the day, Man United, our manager is by the end of this summer, so much of the dead wood from when he took over, which is 12 months later, that we wanted out. The majority of it, if not all of it, and some are contentious. Some people like Shaw, some don't. Some people like Bruno, some don't. Some like Rashford, some don't. But the players that the majority said are not good enough will pretty much all be gone. And all Man United fans knew it would take 2 to 3 windows to get rid of all the problems at this club. The third point I want to understand is it's not about Ten Hag. You said Ten Hag don't care about the club. He's there for his own ego, money, whatever else it may be. What manager, what elite level managers that join the biggest clubs in the world do you think really care about the club? Or do you think they're all there for their own ego and to win things and to earn money?
Ancelotti cares about Real Madrid. Pep Guardiola cares about Man City. There's 2 straight away. Simeone cares about Atletico Madrid. There's 3. Allegri cares about Juve. There's 4.
You named it. So
you asked me a question. You ain't letting me finish.
No, I am letting you answer. So you can name names, but what is it that they're doing that you don't think Ten Hag has done at their, like, what is Ten Hag not doing that they did that proves he loves the club?
Well, Simeone called out the ownership of his club the other month in the January window, but talking about I don't want João Felix to be leaving the football club. I don't want him gone. I can't believe the club are letting him go. Then there was a whole hoo-ha over whether he's keeping his job or whether he's resigning.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it came out that he was resigning, and now apparently he's staying. Yeah, why? Okay. Is João Felix coming back then? Yeah,
Okay.
so there's one of the
he
biggest managers, the highest paid manager in world football, calling out the ownership of his football club.
Okay, so I understand that. But Ten Hag just two weeks ago said about the club needs to spend, we need to invest more, we need more money because this is Man United and we've got to get back.
Luke Shaw's got a new contract after being part of your biggest embarrassing time in your history.
But he rates him. So he rates him and likes him.
So you need to have the manager, mate.
So you don't think he's good enough because he likes him. So in terms of Pep, what actions has Pep done at City that you don't ever see Ten Hag doing in terms of proving he loves the club and isn't there for money or fame or to improve his CV?
Pep Guardiola could have walked when the 115 charges left. Instead, he sat there, backed his football club, and I think they've lost one game since. 25 games later. Yeah, not only that, in January, he got rid of arguably the best fullback in world football and said, get out. Got rid of Cancelo in January. Would Man United have got rid of their biggest player or one of their best players in that position in the world? Would they have got rid of that player in January? Probably not. You got rid of Ronaldo, but that's only because he went and slagged you off on TV.
We got rid of the most famous.
Yeah, because he slagged you off on TV. Cancelo didn't slag Pep off in any interview or the club.
So because Ten Hag's not been met with the position yet, where our clubs had 115 allegations against them. What else is it these managers are doing that you think proves they love their club and they're not there for money versus Ten Hag?
Winning consistently, dropping players that don't need to be at the football club. So, sorry, if you look at the players that Simeone's got rid of, if you look at the players he's got rid of over the years, then go and have a look at the players Real Madrid have got rid of under Ancelotti. Just go and have a look at the player. He got rid of Mesut Ozil. Yeah, he got rid of Di Maria. Yeah, got rid of Martin Odegaard. Yeah, your manager's signing up crap. He's still signing up David De Gea and Luke Shaw. Mate, I've just said it 3 times on this show. Luke Shaw has had one good season in 10. Why has he been signed up to a new deal on more money?
The manager
He's failed for a decade.
The manager believes in him.
Well, there you go. Which brings me back to what I said. The manager will never win you a title.
We'll see what happens with it. But your point then about those managers get rid of players that aren't good enough. Our manager got rid of loads of players in the summer that weren't good enough, and he's going to get rid of a lot more this year. So he's done that exact same thing. He's done the exact same thing you're talking about.
He got rid of Joe Hart instantly. He was England #1 goalkeeper. Got rid of him instantly. Yeah, David De Gea is getting rewarded for years of failure with a new contract on probably about the same money, if not more.
Because he had the ability to go and sign a new goalkeeper straight away because the money was there.
So do you, because you're Man United.
But there isn't enough.
370 grand a week by getting rid of David De Gea.
I'm very sorry.
I'm very sorry.
But we had this conversation a few months ago, and you held your hands up and said, "I didn't realize the financial situation at your club. There wasn't the money in the summer to buy the players we did, and get a brand new world-class goalkeeper."
This summer, though, isn't there? Is there money this summer?
That's because you've had a year of new income coming into your business.
No, fantastic. So why are you giving David De Gea a new contract then?
I've already explained that. I don't need to go over that again. It's already been explained. On less money, because of the same reason that you said, the ownership ain't very good. So the club has to protect itself because we don't have owners like City have got. So then that's where we go round in circles. I'm not stating, by the way, that my manager's as good as Pep. I'm not stating our new owners are going to be as good as Man City. The problem you've got here is you haven't given me, in my opinion, a tangible reason as to why Ten Hag's only at Man United for his ego, and yet there's other managers love their football clubs intrinsically.
Sorry, have you ever heard, Ancelotti, Simeone, Pep Guardiola sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, on Thursday we've got a final, and it's going from 4th to 4th." Have you ever heard them say that? Yeah, because they're there to win. They're there to make the club great. They're there to do the best they can and make that club an elite force. Your manager sat there, walked in and said, "Harry Maguire's a fantastic footballer and he's going to stay the captain." What the fuck is that all about? But you're saying, "Oh yeah, but I don't think it's a great team morale."
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. What does this say here?
He did say final. Hang
on a minute. Pep Guardiola last week, before the Champions League semi-final game, says it's a final at home next week for us. He said it last week, Pep Guardiola. He literally said it last week about a semi-final was a final.
Yeah, and what's that to do, Terry? To get into a final of the biggest club competition on the planet, you're going from 4th to 4th.
You said, Lee, you're done yourself. You said, show me. It took me 30 seconds of Googling it. He called a semi-final final. He called a semi-final final. You just said that's wrong.
Does it have the word final in it?
He said it's a final.
Does it have the word final in it?
Oh, because it says semi-final. It says semi-final.
It's a semi-final. It has the word final in it, Terry. Yeah? Your manager's saying the third loser in the league Third loser in the league is a final. That told you all you need to know about Ten Hag, mate.
Oh, wow.
It has the word final in it, Terry. Semi-final. So it's half a final.
Hang on. I've got you now. Because you know what? Do you know what Thursday is? It's our second.
Thursday's the competition you're going to be playing in next season when you dumped out the Champions League.
Whoa. Do you know what Thursday night is? It's our second to final game at home. Hey! Right, people, we want to move this on a little bit now.
What a joker, man. Good luck with Ten Hag next season.
I've got some super chats first. Listen, look, your biggest two claims are Luke Shaw and Bruno playing. He rates them. That's not a reason why he doesn't love the club. But we'll see what happens next year. This year says, Lee, you are spot on. Now that it's clear we don't win the league, they announced. So we'll come back to that one in a minute. We move on to Arsenal.
Yeah,
sorry, bro. Why is this clown Lee still on? Don't worry, YouTube, 8K subs. It's not failure. He's a very good YouTuber, my friend. It's not just 2 seasons of bottling it. We'll come back to Arsenal. We'll come back to Arsenal in a bit. Lee, what's your reaction to? We'll come to that one as well when Lee's back. I totally get Lee high standards for our club. However, Erik ten Hag inherited our lowest points tally season, and he has got a cup top 4 in first season and another final. Yeah, he might win 2 trophies this year. Could stop a treble. Check out Frankfurt's 2 summers ago and their transfer window. They won the Europa League with lots of departures. Did they sign 23 and sell 23 is a question. This is why this league guy has no credibility. I wouldn't quite say that.
You've just paid to comment, mate. So there's the credibility. Are these people? No, actually, I won't even say it because we already know the answer. They sit here every Tuesday chatting shit. What are you doing? Like, apart from watching me. Like, do you know what I mean? They come every Tuesday. They're like little lemons. Oh my God, I've got to get my dopamine fix. Absolute clapped weirdos, mate. Every single Tuesday, Terry.
We'll come back to the super chat in a minute.
It's hilarious.
As well. Terry Jose signed 9 players in 04. Yeah, but again, didn't sign 23. So again, I'm looking for 23 and 23, or at least 15 and 15. First team players in, first team players out. Show me where that's happened, and I'll change my mind. Lee worships Henry and Bergkamp when Ollie won more. Both those comments are true.
Hey, Chupa Martin's won about 12 trophies, mate. Don't mean he's any good, does it?
Yeah. Arteta's third season hasn't called the Cronkies out. And in fairness, Lee's consistent with that approach, to be fair. It's the same thing, but Lee, lol, it's 3rd or 4th. Lee, name 5 better left backs in the Premier League than Shaw.
Nathan Ake, and he's a centre-back playing at left-back. Yeah. João Cancelo, he's now on loan, but he's still a Man City player. So there's 2. Kieran Tierney, there's 3. Yeah. Arsenal fans will tell you Zinchenko, but that's a load of bollocks. Dan Burn, he can actually defend. Yeah, he's part of the best defensive back 4 in the league. Yeah, so there's another one. There's 4 straight away. If I go through the rest of the other teams, Chilwell's better than him. Yeah, Trippier plays right back, so we can't count him. But there's your 5. Yeah, Robertson's better than him. There's 6. Big up the chat for helping out along the way. There we go. There's 6. There's more. He's crap. He's absolute toilet.
Fair dues. To that super chat about Frankfurt, in the year they won the Europa League, which was the 21-22 season, they signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. The biggest number they've had in recent windows was in 2019-20, where they signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's still nobody yet. If you include the 2 free transfers, 11. No one yet on 15 and 15, unfortunately. We can't seem to find that anomaly. But I wanted to move on to some of the transfers, Lee. One of the first ones, one of the big ones out right now, is £92 million bid for Declan Rice at the end of West Ham's window. There's sort of a gentleman's agreement. They won't start bidding until they've played their final, which is fair. But there's also talk in conjunction with Partey maybe leaving. Italian clubs interested. What's your take on that? If you were to bring in someone like Rice, I know you rate Rice. I rate Rice quite highly. If you bring him in, but someone like Thomas Partey leaves, is that not just... You could argue slightly improving. I think Declan Rice is better. But you're not then just sort of... Is it 1 in, 1 out, and you're not really improving the squad? Is that the kind of business you want to see done? Or not really? Like, you want to see people like Partey stay, I assume.
Well, yeah, I'd like Partey to stay, but let's be real. He's been part of 2 bottle jobs back to back. And he's disappeared for... last season, to be fair, he was injured for the last 8 games, I think. But we weren't winning the league, and we went from 5th to 4th. And this season, he's disappeared. Literally just disappeared. He's not the only one, but we're talking about him before anyone else starts crying, oh, why are you picking on him? Yeah, there's quite a lot of them that have disappeared. But this is what this football club is, Terry. Yeah, it's a football club that's not serious. It's a football club that's just going to go out there, buy one top signing. Everyone are overhyped Declan Rice into being the best midfielder on the planet. Yeah, they'll make out he's insane and brilliant and this and that. And listen, I like Declan Rice. Yeah, but they'll make out he's brilliant. Don't worry, we've got El Neni as backup. No, we'll get rid of a couple of the other players, like Sambi Lukonga maybe. Right, and we'll go and buy a couple of other unknowns that everyone will hype up into oblivion, and around we go, not winning a title again. Yeah, Declan Rice, 92 million. I don't know why it's 92 million. David Ornstein told me on the 25th of January it was 75 to 85. He told the whole world that. Yeah, conveniently, the day after we'd had a third or second bid rejected for Caicedo. Weird that, isn't it? Yeah, so why is it suddenly now 7 million more than the highest price David Ornstein told us we were going to get him for? Why after he'd given his word, because that was another one that I heard in January. So I've got all the receipts, mate, for when this don't happen. Yeah, I've got all the receipts for when he don't sign for Arsenal. Yeah, and we got told he'd given his word. So why are his family, who are his agents, speaking to Bayern Munich then? They've already had conversations with Bayern Munich. So why? He's given his word to Arsenal. Surely the conversation should have been, no, he's given his word to Arsenal, that's it. Like, it's a load of tosh. Like, for me, it's a load of rubbish. And why are we keeping a gentleman's agreement and not speaking to him until the final? Yeah, his representatives are speaking to Bayern then. What's that all about? How comes Bayern can speak to him, but we can't? Why did we have a gentleman's agreement, but they didn't?
So
all of this just makes no sense.
Hang on. So Arsenal have spoke to the player. That's not what they're claiming. What they're stating is West Ham are just essentially have said, look, we'll sit down, we'll negotiate, but we're not entering into that, and we'd rather you not make any official bids until after we've finished our season, because we want all focus to be on the game. We don't want distractions getting in the way. And it looks as though I'm only going by what the media said around that. But I look at this way. Look, 92 million is a good price for the player. It's going to be a structured deal, which means you're not paying it all up front, like most deals are structured over that time. What's really interesting as well is that Chelsea are also looking at Caicedo now, and we'll kind of move on to that in a minute. Saka's also signed a new deal, though. Big deal, £288,000 a week. I know you said earlier you don't really care about like how much. I sure a bit like me. I think he's worth that in the longer term. I think he's going to keep getting better for you. But it's almost a case of re-signing people like him, getting the Declan Rices in. But you can't be allowing surely too much quality to leave the club this summer. That's got to be key.
Why? They've won nothing. They've won nothing. They've won nothing. Yeah, Bukayo Saka, I couldn't care less how much money he's getting paid. Yeah, I couldn't care less how much it costs for Declan Rice. I'm just taking the piss out of it. Yeah, because we was all told it was a different fee. Yeah, but with Bukayo Saka, I couldn't care less how much he's getting paid. Yeah, but the one thing I will say is if he is getting paid close to 300 grand a week, he better not disappear for the last 8 games of next season, like he's done for the last 2 seasons. Yeah, because that's you're the top boy, you're one of the top earners in the league. You better perform like one then. And not only that, like genuinely, I couldn't care less if most of this squad leave, Terry. I genuinely couldn't care. Real talk. I'd like Partey to stay. I'd like some of the others, Martinelli to stay. Yeah, Tierney to stay. Yeah, I've Saliba to stay. But ultimately, yeah, they've won nothing. We've won 1 FA Cup, and Bukayo Saka didn't even play in the final.
So when you say that, though, I understand when you say they've won nothing. So if Partey was to leave this summer because he's won nothing, that it doesn't bother you that he's leaving because he's won nothing.
What's he won? What's he helped us achieve? The biggest bottle job in Premier League history that will be mentioned for years and years and years, because nobody's ever going to be top for 93% of the season and not win it, Terry. Yeah, and at the top 5 most percentages being at the top of the Premier League, we have 4 of them. Being at the top without winning it, we are 4 out of 5. And the one that's the odd one out is Liverpool, yeah, who only lost 1 game that season. And Man City were just relentless. Yeah, so they've helped us win nothing. Why do I care if they leave?
So, but the reason I say, because I think the reason why I think you should care is because what you can go on to achieve. An example I give is this: in the first season that Pep was at City, they won no trophies. In the previous season, they signed KDB. In that summer that Pep came in, they signed John Stones and they signed Gundogan, to name 2 stars that are still stars now. They didn't just go, right, none of them, they didn't win us the league this year. KDB didn't win us the league last year or this year. Therefore, let's be happy to sell him. You keep adding to your quality. And I think Thomas Partey is a quality player. So I would just be a little bit worried about letting the good elements of your team go because you're building towards winning titles. You can't just go, right, we didn't win one league this year. Let's get rid of 2 or 3 of our best players. What you need to do is add even more quality on top of those and go again, surely.
Well, yeah, in an ideal world, Terry, but Arsenal don't do things in an ideal world. They do things in fantasy world. Yeah, they do things upside down and back to front. You know, like, I'm not being funny. How's Aaron Ramsdale got a brand new contract? He's been part of a top 4 bottle job and a Premier League bottle job. Now, with still years left on his current contract, here's a pay rise. Yay. Why? Why is Reece Nelson being offered a new 4-year contract with an option of a 5th? Why? He's out of contract next month. Why are we giving this guy a contract? Again, it's a cost-cutting exercise. Cheaper to keep Reece Nelson and give him 50 grand a week or 60 grand a week than it is to go and buy a proper right winger or left winger. So yeah, to help Saka out and to rotate and add to your squad. Reece Nelson has been at this football club for how long? How many times has he been injured?
I get Reece Nelson, but why does that account for Aaron Ramsdale, who's a very good goalkeeper that's going to keep getting better over the course as he gets older?
What makes you think he's going to keep getting better? Oh, hold on. Stop right there. Okay. Did everyone say the same about Dele Alli? Oh, Dele Alli, there, the trajectory he's on. Scored 20 goals or 18 goals in the season. Yeah, and you know, he's scoring for England and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's only going to get better. What makes you think that? Yeah, because all I've seen is Aaron Ramsdale get progressively worse for the last 10 games. Yeah, so what makes you think he's going to get better next season? Listen, he might get better. Yeah, but just going off of the fact that he's young and he's English and he's playing for his
I don't care about his national. So I'm trying to understand your logic here. So if you've got a player, no matter how talented he is, how much he was rated, no matter how well he starts, if he has 2 good years and then an okay season and his contract's got 18 months left, you wouldn't ever renew. You think, no, it doesn't matter how good he might be, get rid and start again with somebody new.
No. Terry, what I'm saying is Aaron Ramsdale, I'm pretty sure, signed a 4 or 5 year contract when he signed for Arsenal.
Right.
It's a 4 or 5 year contract. So why are we giving this guy an extra 2 years?
Because your club clearly believes that he's going to go on to be a top goalkeeper.
No, because they're protecting the value of the player.
Yes,
yeah, that's what they're doing. They're protecting the value of the player, and they may believe that he's going to go on and be great. Cool. Yeah, well, mate, he's been part of the biggest bottle job in the Premier League history. Yeah, and he's been absolutely dog shit for 10 games. Okay. Yeah, and last season he was exactly the same in the last 10 games. So for me, that shows a mentality issue there, not just for him, but for a lot of these players, and they're all being rewarded with pay rises. Make it make sense.
So you would rather the club. So what?
Can I just stop you right there? This guy in the chat says best season for 20 years. Well done, mate. Do we get a parade for that? You've been chatting absolute shit in this comment section all afternoon, mate. Yeah. Do we get a parade for the best season in 20 years? It's not the best season in 20 years. It's how dense you are. Because 19 years ago, mate, this lot lifted the title. What are you chatting about? Best season in 20 years.
So I understand that. I suppose that
we had a better season 3.5 years ago, 4 FA Cups ago, when we won the actual FA Cup.
I get that. I think the thing about go back to the point about Ramsdale. The problem that you've got is if you never redo deals and protect value of players or extend their contract.
You redo deals, Terry, based on progress of the player. Has that player progressed since last season? No. That's it.
So no new deal for him?
I wouldn't have given Ramsdale a new deal. No way in a million years. Wait until the end of next season. Let's see if you actually can see it out for a season. Yeah, let's not pretend that. Sorry, this is supposed to be an elite level football club. This is not like an educational centre for England goalkeepers or for a manager's career, a training facility for managers' careers or players' careers. This is an elite level sports club, and the aim is supposed to win. What has he won? Nothing. So why are we offering him and him signing a new contract on more money when he's failed to win anything in 2 seasons being here, when he still has 2 years left on his current deal? Why? Makes no sense. He's won nothing in 2 seasons. All he's done is embarrass or be part of an embarrassing season this season. Yeah, the biggest bottle job ever in Premier League history. And he was part of a team that went from 4th to 5th last season when we were 4 points clear with 3 to play. And here we go. So you
would sign a new goal. You would look at buying a new goalkeeper and a better goalkeeper.
100%.
Who's the kind of goalies you think would improve?
Well, the AC Milan goalkeeper seems all right, so maybe we should look at him. Yeah, what about him? He looks all right, and he won a title last season. Maybe go and get him. Yeah, there's loads of goalkeepers out there. Let's not pretend that this goalkeeper is the only goalkeeper we can have, Terry.
No, I'm not. I'm asking for you. I'm asking for your. I'm trying to understand what you would do. So you're not going to give him a new deal.
Oblak's a decent goalkeeper. Why can't we go and get him?
So what I'm saying is, Lee, is you're saying like don't give certain players new deals. You wouldn't. The only reason you wouldn't want to give them a new deal is because you don't personally believe that they're good enough for you. So
no, it's not. It's not necessarily that, Terry. It's rewarding failure when you still have term left on your contract. And not just talking about the last year. Obviously, I understand you want to protect your asset. I get that. Yeah, but giving this guy a new contract when he's not in the last year of his or going into the last year of his contract, giving him more money and an extra 2 years on top of the current 2 years that he had left. I'm sorry, mate. Yeah, that is a disgrace. Why are we giving that guy a pay rise? For what? What have you achieved in the 2 years you've been in goal for Arsenal? Nothing. You've won nothing.
So when it comes to like the Salibas and the Sakas, forget the monetary amount, but the Salibas and the Sakas and the Martinellis, they haven't won anything either. But you have more. I'm assuming you have more belief in them and the levels they're going to get to.
I think I may be wrong in saying this, but I'm pretty sure Martinelli's our top goal scorer this season. Yeah, is he our top goal scorer this season? He's progressively getting better. This goalkeeper, is he progressively getting better? I'm not so sure. Yeah, Saka is progressively getting better. Yeah, Saka is also going into the last year of his contract. William Saliba has progressively got better every season he's played football. He's also going into the last year of his contract. I totally get it with them players. But a goalkeeper, for me, that has still got 2 years left on his current contract, being given a brand new contract on more money, I think shambolic. Yeah, I think that's just pathetic. Yeah, wait another season until he then goes into the last year. Yeah, and then see what he does next season. Yeah, but we should be looking to get a better goalkeeper than him anyway. Yeah, we should be looking to get a better goalkeeper too. We should always be looking to improve every position on the team.
And I absolutely fundamentally understand that, and I absolutely do. I suppose it comes down to areas of priority.
Ramsdale's not the worst goalkeeper, and I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, but has he progressively got better in the 2 years? No, he ain't. I don't think he has. So why are we rewarding that with a new contract with more money? Look at Granit Xhaka, for example. Yeah, Granit Xhaka. We know what happened against Palace all them years ago. But then he goes to a World Cup or a Euros. I think it was the Euros, yeah? It was the Euros. He sits there flirting with Roma in every press conference for Switzerland. He doesn't get the move, comes back, signs a new contract on more money. Now we're getting the Champions League. Woohoo. Redemption for Xhaka. I think these people have forgot he was part of the biggest embarrassing defeat in our history in Europe, the 10-2 against Bayern. He played in them games. I think everyone's forgotten that, by the way. And now he wants to leave. So the club stood by him, put out all this PR on All or Nothing for him, where him and his wife are crying in their house. Oh, poor Xhaka gets abused online. Come and have a look at the comments here every Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Give him a contract after he flirts with Roma. And now, see you later. So, Terry, these people are disposable employees. Getting emotionally attached to these people is one of the worst things you can do. Yeah, because ultimately, at some point, they leave your football club. Yeah, so getting emotionally attached to a disposable employee who's there to serve a purpose. Yeah, and that purpose is to win your club trophies. Yeah, getting emotionally attached to these people is just ridiculous. You're laughing. Why are you laughing? Am I saying anything that's wrong here?
Sometimes you make me laugh. I didn't say it was wrong. I thought it was funny. That's why I'm laughing. You do make me laugh. It's make true, me laugh.
Right? Why people, at some point, these players, Terry, I've supported this club over 30 years, 35, 36 years. Yeah, I think there's only maybe one person at this football club, maybe one, that is still here when I started supporting the club. David O'Leary, one of the ambassadors of the football club. It's the only one still here, mate. Yeah, so why do these people sit there and get emotionally attached? Oh, you can't slag off Odegaard, who scored 15 goals. Have you seen the teams he scored against this season, by the way? Have you seen the teams he scored against? Yeah.
We've got some super chats here. First one said, Lee begged for Ryan Fraser to our club a few years ago and said Welbeck is a better first touch than Salah. Laughing my ass off.
Yeah. And as for Ryan Fraser, mate, he was an upgrade in Alex Iwobi at the time, wasn't he? Yeah, unlucky. Yeah, maybe go and support Mulder instead, mate, and I'll worry about Arsenal. Yeah.
I wonder why.
How about that? Why have you latched onto my football club, mate? Why don't you support Mulder, FC Mulder? Why don't you support them? Why have you latched onto my club and now telling me, about all of it? What are you chatting about, mate?
This here from JB says 2004 is yours goals, 2003 is your bottle gold. JB says The bill here says, Lee, where is that bigger fish to fry Arsenal fan?
Bigger fish to fry in that, yeah? I'm going to be frying plenty of fish this summer, mate. I'm going to Cadiz at some point, to the fish market in Cadiz at some point this summer. I'm not even lying.
Did you hear what Expressions called Robbie yesterday?
No, go on.
He called him Samuel XL Jackson.
Mate, I'm sorry. Don't even get me started on that channel, by the way. Like, just don't even get me started on that. Yeah.
I love that guy.
The club's a circus, mate. Yeah, and the fan base, the biggest single reason why this club's a circus.
Have you seen?
You got fans out here making out like this guy that keeps spamming the chat. Yeah, that this is the best victory in 20 years. Forgetting that we won a title 19 years ago. Forgetting that we won an FA Cup 4 years ago. What is going on here? When people stop dressing up mediocrity as success and winning, maybe, just maybe, we'll actually overtake Man City. But when you've got the whole club, you've got the CEO on the 12th of January saying top 4 is the aim. You've got Granit Xhaka saying the aim this season was top 4. He said it the other day. The aim was top 4, and now we're second. You've got the manager of the football club saying at the start of the season, the same people that were saying 6th and 7th, yeah, and they're saying second's a failure. Yeah, hello, mate. You get the same prize for finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. You don't win a medal, mate. Yeah, but when everyone's all pushing in this direction, then you've got Sky and BT and TalkSport all pushing in that direction. They have absolutely manipulated English-supported teams' fan bases into thinking that there's more than one winner at the end of the season. There's not. At the end of the season, one team wins, 19 lose. That's it. Yeah, then when people like me come out and say this, oh, he's so negative and toxic, well, don't fucking watch it then. Don't watch it then. It's that simple. Yeah, because I ain't stopping until my football club do what they told me in 2004 they were going to do. And that was compete with Europe's elite.
When they knocked the stadium down. There it is.
There you go. There it is.
This super chat here says a Partey linked with the move away from the Emirates. What's your opinion on it, Terry and Lee? Arsenal needs to learn from their mistakes. Look, again, I think we've just kind of gone through this, Alberto, and that's why I brought it up, because I remember your super chat from earlier. And yeah, look, I think it's stupid to let him go now. They need to keep their quality players at the club. I get where Lee's coming from with some. I think like the Reece Nelson stuff and El Neni and Lokongas, you've got to look to clear that out. And if Arteta does clear those people out, it proves he loves the club, according to Lee. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. Lee is right. Seven Hag doesn't have the minerals to win. And look, Lee might be right. He might end up being right that he doesn't win us a league title. But when he does, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to it and see what happens. One thing's for sure: standards needs to be raised at both our clubs. The standards at Man United have been raised this year. It's just going to take time to get to them. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. I've got a desired weight I want to get to now that I'm back training, back in the gym, back running again. I'm not going to
aim for next season for Man United. I know it's hard without knowing what signings are coming in, but okay, let's say you finish 3rd ahead of Newcastle this season. Yeah, yep. Surely progression is going for a title, right? But you're going to say 2nd.
Yes. No, I'm not. I'm not going to say 2nd. So again, like I've said, if we get the new owners, that precursor has to exist. I expect us to challenge next year.
No, you're saying if you get new owners.
Yes. If we get new owners.
If you don't get new owners, let's say you don't get new owners and Glazers are still there, what do you think is progression next season? Let's say you lose to Man City and you only win the Carabao Cup, which is still a better season than we've had. Yeah. What is your ambition for next season?
So let me rephrase what I'm about to say. My standards, irrespective of who own us, are to move on to challenge for the Premier League next year. Challenge. I don't think we'll win it because I don't think we can be as good as City, but that means to be with a much closer on points. I think they're 19 points ahead of us. I want that cut down to 5, 6, 7 points by the end of the season. Do I think we can do it if the Glazers stay? No, because I don't think they'll spend what we need to improve the squad. I don't think they'll allow everything to leave. They'll cut those corners like we've already spoken about. So achieving what I want and my expectations are two different things. So that's what it comes down to. So for me, my expectations are one thing. Do I think it's achievable based on who's running my club? They're different conversations. Those two thought processes.
But the aim of elite sport is exactly the same, Terry. Yeah. So just because there's different metrics put in place for different football clubs, don't change the aim of elite sport. Yeah. It's like people building up Brighton and this and that. We all know Brighton are going to sell their best players in the summer. They're not going to invest all of that money profit plus the 84 million profit from this summer Yeah, they're not going to invest all of that. Plus their TV money that they're going to get another 120 million next season. Not going to invest all of that to actually probably try and win.
So Lee, I understand that. Lee,
so these metrics that are put in place, your Man United Football Club, Terry, don't lower the standards by saying, whether it's achievable. Your Man United Football Club.
I'm not lowering the standards. I'll give you an example. What's your expectations for next year?
My expectations are to win the title.
Yes. Do you think your manager's good enough?
No.
Why are you lowering the expectations by saying no?
No. I haven't lowered my expectations for my football club. I've lowered it for the manager. And hang on, don't. Let me answer it.
You said you've not. You've answered it. I don't need that. I'm not trying to catch you out. My point is,
my expectations is to win the league every year.
Okay. Let me just do this quickly. My expectations are to challenge next year, but I don't think we'll do it because if we keep our owners. I believe our own. That's not me lowering the standards.
Okay, but you've just said your words. Your expectations are to challenge. Big Man United, you just want to challenge. I'm sorry, mate. That's the expectations lowered.
No, you said next season, not my overall forever. Next season.
No, I've just asked you next season. You should be challenging. You're Man United. Challenge.
Exactly. Yes,
challenge. I want. Go and win it, Terry. Go and win it.
I don't. Yeah, but okay. But you're asking me. I want to win it, but do I think next year will be better than this Man City team? No, I don't. So I'm telling you what I expect based on how good I think we are. I don't think.
Do you know why there's so many fans that don't think that their clubs can beat Man City?
Lee, I can't hold people accountable for a level I don't think they can get to.
But you don't know.
In the short term.
But you can get there, Terry.
We can, but not next season. You said next year specifically.
Do you know why there's so many football clubs in England that are finished? Yeah, and they all cry about Man City. Oh, they've been financial doping. Do you know why? Yeah. Oh, we can't compete. Like I always talk about Real Madrid. The amount of people that can't grasp the concept is mad. Yeah, we're not on Madrid's level. Do you know why we're not on Madrid's level? Do you know why we're not on City's level? Do you know why you're not on City's and Madrid's level? Do you know why? Because the standards are so low. Yeah, that second is seen as an achievement. Because over the last 15 to 20 years, both of our clubs have systematically been absolutely destroyed by the standards being lowered and lowered and lowered to the point where if you finish second, you get idiots in the chat and other chats and my chat and other streams sitting there saying, but it's our best season for years. We played great football. It's the best season since Wenger. Who cares? Yeah. The fact is, you are Man United. We're Arsenal Football Club. We're two of the three biggest clubs in England, right? We should be challenging and winning titles.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So the fact that you're sitting there saying, oh, I just want to be challenging next season, when deep down you know you're not going to, yeah, is because of all of the fans over the last 15 years, all of the PR from the football club over the last 15 years. I don't follow my club's PR.
I don't follow my club's PR. I don't even go on their website. I don't even follow our Twitter account. I don't see any of it. I don't watch the press conferences because I participate in zero content from my club.
No, but you don't. But millions do, Terry, which is lowered the standards.
But we're talking about mine and your ideologies, nobody else's. And like I just said, you asked me what I expect next year. I expect next year for us to challenge. What I expect by the end of year in the third season, where I think it's completely my manager's squad and he's rebuilt us from the mess we were in, then I will be expecting us to go on and challenge for the title. The difference between you and I is that you expect to win the title. You expected to win the title after finishing 8th, which is, I get you want to win it, but the likelihood of you achieving it is different. So all I'm doing is tapering my expectations. I know it's going to take my club a period of time to catch this Manchester City team and to be as good as them. Some are saying it's the greatest English team of all time. You're up against the greatest team from England of all time.
They won the league on 85 points.
Hang on a minute. Please let me finish. Right? If people are saying it's the greatest English team of all time, and Man United, when this manager inherited us, just had our worst season in 40 years, it's ridiculous to have the expectation for that manager to turn it around inside 12 months, inside 18 months. It's going to take you time to get there. That doesn't mean that I don't want progression and I don't have the overarching expectation of getting back to the top. But you're never going to, like we're trying to make the point earlier, I'm going to get back into shape. I've got a target weight of about 30.5 stone, certain weight, certain inches. I don't really do with weight. It's more about inches on my stomach and stuff. I am not at 37 going to be able to get down to that weight as quickly as I did when I was 21 years of age. It's going to take me time. I can't get like the best.
Okay, so no, I get that.
Please let me finish. I'm not going to be able to get into that shape like the 21-year-old kid that's in my gym and he's in great shape. It's going to take me time. So my expectations are to get there, but my expectations now have to be spread over a longer period based on the circumstances that I'm in. So it isn't about lowering standards, Lee. It's about being realistic about how you get to them. The current owners of Newcastle have a standard of getting to a point to win the Premier League, but they couldn't do that 18 months in. Impossibility from where they took over. So again, I'm not lowering any standards.
Terry, you're saying you're now saying that you have to spread your expectations over a longer period of time.
And Lee, what I'm not going to do is sit on the internet and put out an expectation of I want to win the league and surpass this City team next year or screw this manager when we all know it's very, very unlikely. Do I think we can get to that point in the future?
That's the difference. I actually demand a title. I've waited 19 years.
And I've been it's not going to happen, Lee. Lee, you know it isn't going to happen.
I'm not stopping, Terry. Terry, let me tell you.
Your manager's been there 3.5, 4 years. It's different from mine.
I couldn't care less. I don't care how long he's been here.
You're being ridiculous, Lee. It's ridiculous.
I'm not being ridiculous at all, Terry. At the end of the day, the aim of elite sport, there you go, press your button. Yeah, the aim of elite sport is to win major honours, yeah?
It is.
Right? Not to finish second and lord it up as a trophy. That's it.
No one's lording it.
That.
No one's doing it, Lee. Lee, but no one's doing
I'm talking about my Arsenal fans. The Arsenal fan base are lording up second place.
Them. We're talking about you and me. I'm not doing that.
If you let me finish instead of talking over me, because I'll just let you finish. If you let me finish, the fact is you've said that your expectations now have to be put over a longer period of time. Why? When is it achieved? When is it allowed? Hang on. When is it allowed for you, for you and for me to demand a title at our football clubs? When? How many more years of this crap of lowering the standards within the fan base that now you have to spread your expectations over? Fuck off. I've spent over 200 grand watching my club, mate. Yeah.
Fine.
And if all these people want to cry, go and do 200 grand and come back to me.
Lee,
when is it acceptable for me to demand a title when it be fine? Tell me. And for you, when?
Lee, you can now. Your manager has been there.
Oh, I'm allowed now. Well, I'm not, Terry, because everyone's telling me I can't.
Lee, we're not. Don't forget them for a minute. We're talking. Just forget them. Ignore them. Your manager's been there 3.5 to 4 years. I think it's absolutely right to say that now, with this final summer, we should be challenging, and I want to win the league. Man United are not in that position yet. We're getting close to it. What Ten Hag inherited with the owners that you've sat on this show and slagged off about how they've ruined Man United. You've got to fix those problems. So to have expectations of like when we were a peak Fergie team to now is wrong. You've got to adjust yourself. Doesn't mean you're not setting the expectations of getting back to that level. But this notion of that our manager, because after the beginning of the season this year, should have been expected to have beat this City team to a title is a madness. Because if it was, you guys would have been predicted that. Well, I think you guys can do it because that's the standard. No way did anybody think that could happen.
You can't do it because nobody else thought it. Wow. Okay.
No, but nobody thought it because they know it isn't possible, Lee. So why would you have expectations?
And it's not possible, Terry, because the standards
why would you have? No, it's nothing to do with the standards. Did you think
it's to do with the standards?
Hang on a minute, Lee. So you believe. Please let me finish this question. So you believe at the start of the summer this year, the start of the Premier League, if every Man United fan in the world said win the league this year or you're sacked, Ten Hag, and had that standard, you believe we'd have won the league?
If every Man United fan, had actually sat there and stuck it on your ownership, instead of gassing up 100 million quid on a fidget spinner, a left back who ain't played hardly any games all season, the Bitzer in January, Weghorst in January, and actually demanded your football club do what it's supposed to be doing, because this is not some tin pot club called Oldham, all due respect to Oldham fans. This is Man United, big Man United. Yeah, and everyone's just sitting. I see your fans all over the internet because they're just as mouthy as Arsenal fans.
I don't care about them.
No, you don't. Yeah, and you don't. But you know why? Because you're you and you think what you want to think. Cool. Yeah, but you should care about them because they're holding your fucking football club back, Terry. They're holding your club back.
So can you answer my question?
Because they're happy with crap.
So answer the question. So if every Man United fan would have demanded more money be spent, the debt be paid off, and better signings.
Just go and buy better players.
Okay, well, the debt has to be paid off to buy better players. But if we demanded, Lee, so if we demanded all of that in the summer, you believe we could have beat City to the title this year?
Yeah, because if you then didn't go and deliver on them players and that debt being paid off, empty the fucking stadium every week. Pretty simple logic. It's such an easy concept. Yeah, because tell you what, when you weren't getting top four, all of a sudden your owners got their cash out. They've got their checkbook out, didn't they? Suddenly you signed Ronaldo, Varane and all this lot. Yeah, signing all these top players. Yeah, to get you back in the Champions League, which you're not going to bother winning.
Lee, we were in the Champions League when we signed that.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My bad. You're in the Champions League.
And this is what it is. So you honestly believe if the fans demanded more this summer, Man United would have beaten City to this title?
Well, they would have had a better chance. That's for sure. Would they have had a better chance? Yay or nay?
No.
Well, there you go then. And you're sitting there going, another 2 years, another 2 years, another 2 years of what?
Another improvement. I just don't think from where the manager inherited the squad from, that it was plausible inside one summer to go from the worst season in 40 odd years to beating a team that's now being looked at as the best, if not one of the best.
So that team that's being looked at as the best or one of the best ever, finished the title winning season this season on Saturday when they were crowned champions. Yeah, not Sunday when they won their game. They were champions on Saturday on 85 points.
What's that got to do with
2 seasons ago, they won the league on 86 points.
Right.
Thank you very much. You couldn't have got 86 points, no? You couldn't have kept up with them this season if your fans had demanded more in the summer.
But if we'd have kept up with them and we're on 84 points right now, they wouldn't have won the league. They'd have won their last 3 games and then it'd be 94 points. You're moving the goalpost. I just want to be
closer then. Hence my point.
I don't believe no matter how much we demanded as fans, we could have caught City this season. That's my personal view. You think that having the high standards alone
the same again next season when you finish in the top 4, you might nick a cup or might not nick a cup, and then you get in the Champions League again, you don't win that, and then all of a sudden Ten Hag's been here 4 years, he still hasn't competed for or won a title. Yeah, but Man City, they've still got Pep, and when does it end? When are you? I'll
tell you when it ends. Lee, you're missing. You always miss this point, and I don't know what Man United fans you speak to. It blows my mind that the shit that some of them must speak, because for me, you're missing the fundamental point. The reason why things keep getting reset at Man United is because all these, whether you want to call them rebuilds or processes or new managers, I don't really care for the buzzwords. They keep getting broke by the Glazers. They ruin them. Things fall apart and crumble, and you have to start rebuilding again. And what the Glazers have never allowed any single manager to do fully is complete a situation where you've got a squad that is full and thick of quality players like City has got, where their ideology, we had a point at Man United where our manager, who had spent at the time £300 or £400 million, was playing a completely different brand of football to our academy. Does that happen at Man City?
Nope.
The point is this: until our owners allow a manager and a philosophy to be embedded at the club for a prolonged period of time, and you're not always having to undo and rip apart and rechange squads. If you don't turn around to a manager like Jose when he says, look, I know I bought 2 centre-backs. They're good, but I need more. And the owners say, you ain't having anybody else. That's a problem. Because
the reason the Glazers have never seen a project, process, or whatever you want through is because when you have a manager that was an elite level manager that won you a European trophy, the first ever manager to win you one in his first season, and he won a League Cup, your fans hounded him out your football club.
No, so again, Lee. So this is what happened. You had some fans, by the way, that were going for him when he was winning. I personally wasn't. Where it all fell apart for him, and please get your information right on my club, the Glazers did him dirty, and then he threw himself under the bus. So he wanted rid of Pogba and Martial. And Pogba and Martial FC were the ones that went for Jose Mourinho, not Man United fans. We were relatively happy with him. What then happened is Jose then started doing mad stuff in press conferences, saying crazy things. And then even what he did to Martial in the following summer was a disgrace. The man went to the birth of his child, and he was slagging him off for doing it. Now, no man should ever be condemned to going to the birth of his child, right? Those things went on and he had to be removed. That's when Man United fans started to lose their rag with him, because it was bringing the club into disrepute. It's not a good look for our manager to be doing that to one of our...
They were already booing him at the games before that, way before Martial. Yeah, they were already booing him at the games. They weren't turning up to games. There was empty seats at Old Trafford. I watched the games.
Nonsense. That wasn't happening in that sort of up until he got a new deal in the January. Man United fans were happy with it, Lee. 110%. Look, I wanted to get through some more of these super chats here. First one says, Lee was spot on. Now it's clear we won't win the league. They announced Saka's new contract. Arsenal at it again.
How did I know that?
Thank you.
It's funny because that was agreed in February, apparently, which coincides with his form dipping.
Yeah. I'm not sorry. It's not just 2 seasons of bottling it. It's 3 full seasons. He got humiliated by Emery and finished 8th in his first full season as well. Not good enough. Lee, what's your reaction to the Vini Jr. and Juventus situation?
Disgusting for Vini. He's put a video out there. Thank you. He's put a video out there of all the times fans from multiple clubs in Spain, in the La Liga, have done that to him, shouted death threats at him and stuff like that. It's disgusting. And if I was him, yeah, he's the biggest star in the league, mate. Let's not even dress this up. He is the biggest superstar in La Liga. They're quality footballer, man. Absolutely quality. If I was him, I'd just go and strike until they resolve it. Yeah, I know he shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, but sometimes you've got to make a stand, mate, and it ain't going to stop. It's proven that because it's been going on for years since he's been in Spain. Yeah, and as for the Juve situation, mate, that is just hilarious watching that unfold, man. I can't lie. Yeah, they get docked, then they get put back in, and then they're up to second. Now they're back down to 8th and got battered 4-1 yesterday, which is great for Arsenal, by the way, for all the losers that are bouncing around. Oh, we're in pot 2 now because AC Milan are currently in the 4th spot, which means that they've got a lower coefficient than Arsenal, which means we move from pot 3 to pot 2. Yay! In a competition we still won't bother trying to win. Great here, isn't
it? This here says Lee name. Okay, we've already done that super chat. Sorry. We've done this one. This here says Dyer, unfortunately, not getting a contract extension. I'd rather we don't beat Leeds because I know we won't go and try to win the Conference League like
How
West
toxic
Ham.
And negative, wanting your team to lose. How toxic. A bit like the Arsenal fans when Emery was manager and they were all in the clock end lower, jumping up and down when Frankfurt scored. How toxic.
This here says it's all lovely, but winning the Premier League under the Glazers in this day and age, no chance, is what Lee says here.
Great.
Someone in the comments says to tell you always going in hard on Jose. Well, if you actually listen to what I said that he was done dirty first, but then his behaviour let him down. And 2 wrongs in this world do not make a right. Lee, why do you want Partey to stay when he's part of the Arsenal team that bottled top 4 in the league? Seems a bit hypocritical, that.
Not really. I said I couldn't care less if he left. Like, he's a good player. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Yeah, but under this manager, yeah, we ain't going to get anywhere, mate. I'm telling you, we ain't winning the league. We ain't going to win the title race next season. Yeah, I'd like him to stay because he's a good footballer. Yeah, like Saliba, like Martinelli, like Saka. But ultimately, if they all left, I ain't going to lose any tears and get any sleepless nights or cry over it. Ultimately, footballers leave your football club. I ain't one of these who's going to go, oh, he's a snake. Yeah, because if Starboy had actually left, the real Starboy plays at Madrid, by the way. Yeah, doing it in Champions League year in, year out, and actually has an elite mentality as well. Because after they got beaten by Man City the other day, in the game he was having to go at Ancelotti as manager. I mean, is that even allowed? I mean, is that toxic? He was saying, are we actually going to come out of defence and have a go at them? He was actually saying that to his manager. Yeah, and then afterwards he said, you're telling me I've worked all season not to win a league title and not to get into a Champions League final. I'd swap all of my goals and assists this season to be in that final. How toxic. You've won a Copa del Rey this season, mate. You're overachieving. Yeah. Mad the levels, isn't it, Terry?
This here says, what's Lee's top summer budget and transfers? Yeah, give us your top 2 signings for Arsenal players you would like to see come in, Lee.
Ancelotti, Simeone, either of them as manager. Not allowed Simeone, he plays negative football. Yeah, they've scored more goals, I think, than Real Madrid this season. Quite crazy, isn't it? So yeah, one of them as manager. Even Luis Enrique, he'd be a good manager. In terms of players, Rice, Caicedo, maybe Oblak. Go and get Oblak. Yeah, he'll be an upgrade on the goalkeeping position. I would have said Ivan Toney. In fact, I still would say Ivan Toney because he'll be back in January. So Ivan Toney, maybe go and get Harry Kane. Could we get Kane? Like, oh no, we don't want him. He's plays at Tottenham. Yeah, so yeah, maybe another winger. Who could we get on the right wing to give Saka a little bit of a kick up the arse for the last 10 games of every season? Who could we get on the right wing? Sure, there's plenty. Go and get Mahrez, but then do we want any more of their players? The last 2 that turned up didn't do anything, did they? There we go.
The fact that either Man United or Arsenal can compete with City and Chelsea when they go in for the same players, so we will continue failing further behind, is what Steve Runn says. 0708 was a worthier title challenge. 2023 is a joke. Is what Ricky
Which, by the way, on that comment, on that one, by the way, we got rid of Henry, yeah? Went straight into a title race. The following season, yeah, to kill this little myth of young squads and all of that, yeah? The following season, we got into a Champions League semi. We lost 4-1 to Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo front three. We lost 4-1 at the Emirates. And that squad was younger than the current squad we have now. Didn't hear a single person talking about young squad youth project or phases.
20 years, no title, 1 FA Cup in 4 seasons. Out is what Oregon Guna says.
Tell him,
bro. The way Lee's going today, don't show him that video to you. Yeah, have you seen the video of Dowd saying that the league should change its rules and the team that's on top for the longest amount of time should win the Premier League.
Apparently, I'm embarrassing. Apparently, I'm a Spurs fan, so I want to win stuff. Apparently, I'm embarrassing because I want to actually win. I want to hold the club accountable for fucking shit up. I'm not allowed to. Nobody's allowed accountability at this football club, Terry, because that's negative. Nobody's allowed to be held accountable. Did you see the Bayern Munich? Is it not Bayern Munich? The Nice player, Dante, calling out the ownership, Jim Radcliffe. Yeah? What a player who's getting paid by the club is actually calling out the club. Is that allowed? Wow, mad. Unbelievable. Yeah, I've seen that video. It's a shambles.
This here says, if the Glazers stay, we ain't winning anything. So no trophies as long as they are here. The manager will come in and go and nothing will change. I think we can win trophies. This year proves we can win trophies in the bill. In terms of winning the Premier League, going to be very, very difficult. Winning the Champions League will be hard because they tend not to see progress.
You just got to go away from Purple Patch Rashford, Luke Shaw, yeah, and all the other players that have let you down consistently over the years.
But you've also just said, Lee, you said earlier on in the show that the Glazers keep those players to cost cuts. So if they're the ones keeping them,
so the manager should call it out. We're not going to go back down this route, Terry. The manager should call it out because, like I just said, there's a player at least that's called out the ownership.
Yeah, okay, they call him out and get sacked like Ralph. Yeah. How does that fix the problem?
It fixes the problem because if Ten Hag, after Ragnick's already called out the football club and then lost his job, if Ten Hag now calls out the football club, all of a sudden more fans might get on board and actually empty out the stadium. And once the stadium's emptied out, they're selling me.
And what would that lead to? And what would that lead to?
That'll lead to your fans actually getting a backbone and actually holding the club accountable instead of gassing up Rashford and rejecting Neymar. The amount of your fans that don't want Neymar is insane, by the way.
I don't want Neymar either.
Why?
Why should
be your best player by a country mile?
You tell me why we should sign Neymar. Why should Man United sign Neymar?
Why should you sign Neymar?
Come on.
Are you actually asking me this question?
Yeah, why should Man United sign Neymar?
He would be your best player by a country mile, mate. Yeah, you got Jadon Sancho, who turns up into the league for 72 million quid. Yeah, gassed up into oblivion by your fans. Yeah, and then disappears for 3 months on a sabbatical because he needs to get his mental strength back. Yeah, and come back fighting fit. Yeah, come back fighting fit and done nothing. You've got Anthony on the other side, who, mate, don't even get me started on him. He is trash. Yeah, 172 million on them two players. Yeah, then you've got Rashford, who hasn't scored a goal. In fact, 2 goals in the last 3 months? You're telling me Neymar would go and not get in Man United's team? Are you crazy? Yeah, and the reason that so many of your fans don't want them there is because they're emotionally attached to the dross that you've already got there, like the 3 I've just mentioned. Yeah, which keeps the standards on the deck because once you get an elite level footballer at your club, like Neymar, because as much as I take the piss and say Mahrez, Neymar, all of that, Neymar is a quality footballer who has won a trophy every single season for, I think, the last 14 or 15 years. But you can't have that at Man United because then it means the standards are getting dragged up off the floor. The same as when Casemiro came in and dragged them up off the floor. I remember that cup final you won. As soon as the full-time whistle went, you've just won the cup and he's having a go at Bruno. Now imagine having Neymar there. Now all of a sudden the standards are being raised. You can't have that at United because, we can't compete with Man City. They're financial doping. Yeah, it's pathetic. He would walk straight into your starting 11 as your best player every week. That's it. Why would you not want him?
He would definitely be Man United's best player straight away. And based on his ability, based on his goals, based on his technique, I'd love Neymar at Man United. The reason why I don't want to sign him is because in the last 6 years, he's not started more than 22 games in a league campaign. He, on average, misses around half to 2/3 of every season with injuries. So for me, that's the reason. I love the player. I think he's a top-class player. But if he misses, let's just break it down. If he's only available every season between November and middle of February, but he misses the back end of every season and the beginning of every season with injury, the amount of money he's going to cost to buy and keep at the club, you're not getting enough bang for your buck. So for me, I'm not saying don't improve on those areas you've mentioned, but I'm stating availability is the best ability. And for someone that misses almost 2/3 of every season for the last 6 years, and he's getting older, so therefore there is a likelihood the injury situation at least maintains the same level or gets worse. I don't want to invest in a player who misses 2/3 of a season, bro.
It's not your money, so you're not investing in it.
But of course I care about it. So we had this conversation earlier. We have to pay him what he's on now, which is £900,000 a week. But he's not available.
Bad if you can get it, Sal.
I know, it's very good. Let's just say he costs 900 grand a week, which is what he's on now. if he's only available for 2/3 of the season, wouldn't that money, in your opinion, be better spent on salaries for Victor Osimhen and Harry Kane to be at your club because they play far more games? They may not be as good as him, but a player that's
why not buy all three and actually have a go? Because you're saying availability is the best of ability, yeah?
Yeah.
But as far as I'm seeing, Martial's never available. He's always injured, and when he is fit, he hardly does anything. Jadon Sancho is never available, and when he is, he either don't get a game because the manager don't rate him that highly, and when he does get a game, he does nothing. Right, and then you've got Antony, who's always available and does next to nothing. And between them three players, you've done what, 222 million.
That's besides the point, though. So the point is, Martial want him gone. Sancho
and he's better than all of them. So even an unfit Neymar would still put out more output than all three of them.
Yeah, okay, but that isn't what I want. I want somebody that puts out more output than them, performs better than them, but can be fit for the lion's share of your season. Because say we get rid of all those players and Neymar's in, and he does brilliantly for 4 months, and then he's out injured for the rest of the season.
So buy Osimhen and Kane as well, then.
Hang on, okay. I don't think it's plausible, even with new owners, to sign all three of those players in one window. Now, so for me, what you have to do is process of elimination. You go, right, Neymar's the best of those three, but he misses 2/3 of the season, which means somebody slightly worse than him over a course of a season being available for the majority of it is going to be a better signing for you. Not a better player, but a better signing. I don't think, listen, he's a quality player, but a man who is not, listen, on average, he starts 16 games a season. It's not good enough, Lee. That's too bad an injury record. You can't.
How many goals does he score, Tel?
On average,
well, I'm looking now. This season, he's played 20 games, 13 goals, 11 assists.
Yep.
Last season, 22 games, 13 goals, 6 assists. Season before, 18 games, 9 goals, 5 assists. That was his. No, the next season, he played 15 games. That was his lowest. He scored 13 goals, 6 assists that season.
Yeah.
Season before, 17 games, 15 goals, 7 assists. And his first season, 20 games, 19 goals, 13 assists. Yeah. His outputs there or thereabouts the same as Rashford. It's in half the games.
I agree.
Rashford as well.
Again, but I'm not saying don't improve. You're missing my point. I'm not saying don't improve on Rashford. He scores lots of goals when he's playing, but in the 4 or 5 months he misses.
That's just league games, by the way.
Yeah, overall competitions, he's averaged 16 goals per season in the last 3 years, right? All comps. My question is this: the 3 or 4 months he's missing, can he score in games that he doesn't play in?
Well, no, of course he can't. But he'll raise the standards of your football club. He'll get the players he's playing with will get better because they're now playing with Casemiro and Neymar.
But they're not playing with him. If he misses 4 or 5 months of the season, he won't even be in England.
Sorry, the guy's played nearly 30 games this season. Like,
what's that got to do with anything? He misses.
How many has Martial or Sancho played this season? They've probably even totaled the same amount of games. So why are they both there and you don't want him?
But I want them gone as well, Lee.
Does he want Sancho gone as well?
Yes, he's not good enough.
Wow. Okay, fair enough.
So I'm not disagreeing with who we should sell. I would love if Neymar was fit and available for 80-90% of the season. I'd be all over this. But we can't have a man. I can't believe you're advocating for signing a man who, on average, misses 4 to 5 months of every season.
Well, we signed a player that's had more days out injured than anyone in our squad. Zinchenko.
What's that got to do with me, though? Not winning Neymar.
And how many injuries he had this season? Only a couple of little nuts. So just because he's getting injured in France doesn't mean he's getting injured in England. Who's to say he's going to come to Man United and get injured every week? You don't know that, do you? So you're now going based off of what previously happened.
So,
yeah?
So you're telling me, hang on a minute. But I'm not meant to judge a player based on their history.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're basically saying that you don't want him because he's injured every week. Yeah, in the Uber Eats League or whatever, yeah, or he misses half a season or a third of the season or 2/3, whatever, yeah. But then that's like saying, oh yeah, but that so he's going to be injured every week based off of what you're saying. That's like saying, yeah, that Arsenal's young players are only going to get better together. It makes no sense. Who says he's going to be injured when he comes to England?
Again, so if we're going to remove his injury record in France, can we remove all his goals and his assist and performances?
What are you chatting about?
So if we can't look at his injury record in France, can we remove his goals and his performances from France?
Terry, he's got a better output than pretty much every single one of your players, and he plays half the games.
That is, I didn't deny that. I'm saying that isn't the reason.
You don't want that in your football club.
So your state? No, I don't. I didn't say I didn't want his goals and his ability. I literally said that element of him I love, but I don't think we should be investing so much money in a player that will miss half our season every year. Why would you do that?
No, but you're suggesting he'll miss half the season based off of what you've seen. Cool, I get that.
But you're saying he's going to score an assist based on what you've seen. So why can't I do that?
Well, you can, but at the end of the day, you're rejecting Neymar based off of injury. Yeah, when you've,
yes.
I'm baffed. I'm baffled.
I think it would be. Because this is what will happen.
You're saying that you can't compete, but then you're being offered Neymar, and you're saying no. It makes sense to me.
But, so you don't think him missing half the season would be a problem if he's not available to play for us? Who's going to win it? If he comes in to win us the games, to make us champions, but he misses half the season, who's going to win the games for us?
Well, you could get Anthony up a level if he watches Neymar and watches how to dribble properly.
That logic don't work in this debate because you said he ain't good enough. If we sell all those players that are rubbish and we bring in Neymar to replace him, but he's not available because he's injured, who delivers if he's not available?
Harry Kane.
Do you think so? Harry Kane as well?
Go and get Kane and Neymar, and you're instantly miles better. You've got Casemiro in midfield. You're instantly miles better. You said to me earlier, you don't think you can compete with Man City for another couple of years until Ten Hag. But then you're being offered Neymar, and you're saying no. That's why you can't compete.
No.
Because you're being offered elite level footballers, and you don't want them.
Lee, but again, no one's denied that he's an elite level footballer. But when he misses, like Haaland right now, would you say Haaland's helped deliver the league title for City?
Of course he has. He scored 30-odd goals.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But with or without him, they've still won the league.
But if he missed half this season, they may not have won it.
Well, they won it without a striker for 2 years. What are you talking about?
So then why'd they buy him?
Why are they buying him? Because they want to win the Champions League, and they haven't won the Champions League for the last 2 years without a striker.
Okay, so if he missed half this season and wasn't available now because he was out injured, would they be? Do you think they'd be in the Champions League final?
Who knows? We don't know, do we? But at the end of the day,
my point is
he doesn't finish 90 minutes of every single game. Sometimes don't even start the game.
He gets taken off. He started a lot.
Why did he get taken off? To preserve his energy for the Champions League.
I understand that, and I understand it. But for me, my only reason for saying no to him is because you've still not given me a logical reason why it's worth investing the money in a player that misses half the season for the last 6 years.
Because he's an elite level footballer, Terry. And there's not just because he's been injured for half a season for the last 6 years doesn't mean for the next 6 years he's going to be injured for half a season. Look how Thomas Partey is the prime example. Thomas Partey was barely ever injured. I don't think he even had an injury at Atletico. He comes to Arsenal, he's injured all the time. So we've signed a player that's never injured. Now he's always injured. Maybe it worked the other way around for you lot.
Maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah, if you're being offered Neymar, he is one of the best footballers on the planet, and you're saying no to that, I'm sorry, mate, that's baffling. You've got Casemiro, one of the best CMs in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you're being offered Neymar, and you're saying no to that. It's almost like you don't want Man United to get better. Because if you put Neymar in your squad, you're instantly better. Whether he plays all the season, after season, or 10 games a season, you are instantly better because Neymar is in the training ground. Neymar's around the place, even if he's got a little knock, he's on crutches, whatever it may be. Yeah, it's Neymar. Everyone's looking up to Neymar instantly. Same with Casemiro. Instantly, you're going to get better. Yeah, I genuinely do not understand any Man United fan that don't want Neymar.
Because I don't think he'll play, because he'll miss half the games, and therefore the brilliant impact he brings to us will only be available half the time. So I want us to invest in other world-class players who have better availability.
So who do you want to buy? Who would you rather in that position over Neymar? Who would you take?
Well, Harry Kane's a player that I want us to go and sign sort of in an attacking point, from an attacking point of view. I think he is absolutely brilliant. In terms of the inside forward, that's not really a position that I've looked at. I look at Rafinha could be an option for us on that right-hand side. I like him. I think he's a very, very talented player. Again, is he as good as Neymar? No, he isn't. But he has more availability, and I think he was brilliant in the Premier League before he left. I don't know how available he is. That right-hand side is definitely an area that needs to be focused upon. I'm not like a lot of these United fans who are saying, right, let's just give Ahmad a try. Ahmad should be given a go, but he shouldn't be the mainstay individual. So for me, there are lots of players. I think we should be looking at Victor Osimhen as an option and as a player, great availability, great goals.
None of these play left forward.
Right. But that isn't an area that I think Man United needs to overly improve in.
So you don't think you need improving on the left forward position?
So I look at it this way. When I look at left forwards in the world...
Did you just say that?
No, I don't think we do need to. No, we don't. Manchester.
So you would rather keep Rashford on left wing?
Yes.
Than have Neymar? And you think I'm deluded with some of my takes?
But what you're doing, Lee, is you're turning it into, you're saying Neymar, Rashford's better than Neymar. No, I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
But I've given you my reason, because he won't be available for half the season.
Well, neither's Rashford, and even when he is. No, what I'm saying about he's fit all the time, but he disappears for 90% of the season and scores in bunches.
No, he doesn't. That's nonsense.
How many actual games has he scored in this season?
I don't know. I'm counted. A lot.
He's only scored 2 goals in the last 3 months, mate.
But he's also been injured for like 2/3 of that.
Oh, so he's injured as well. Well, there we go.
But you can't moan about injuries. But Rashford doesn't get the injuries at the same level as him. Look, for me,
you would rather keep Rashford on the left wing than have Neymar. Wow.
KJ,
clip that. That needs to go on the clip
channel. But the way you're doing it though is you're leaving out my context. So, but I can't keep saying it because of the availability. Yes, not on playing ability. Of course, he's far superior to Rashford, but he's not going to be available. So why would you do it?
So just keep Rashford and keep going round and round in circles then, mate. That's not too
short. Shut himself, but I don't. You're not listening. You're not listening. A lot of Neymar fanboys out there. Of course he's better than Rashford, but he's not
even a Neymar fanboy. You should be taking him in an heartbeat, mate.
No, never. Not with his injury record. Wow. I don't want to sign any injury-prone players. Why would you?
Wow. Okay.
No one ever wants to, but suddenly with Neymar, it's okay. And I know Rashford's had injuries, but Rashford hasn't only started on average 16 games for the last 6 years in the league. They're not comparable, my friend. They're just not. I would love a fit Neymar at Man United, but he's not fit. So I don't understand. No one yet has given me a reason why you'd sign an injury-prone player. No one. Tell me why, people.
Well, because if I'm just looking at Rashford's output for the last, since he broke into the team, Neymar batters him every season.
Because Neymar's
he's playing literally half the game. So what you're saying to me there, Terry, is he's not available because he's always injured. And he only plays on average 16 games a season. But his output in terms of goals is better than when Rashford's playing 37 games or 31 games or 33 games or 35 games. So what's Rashford doing when he's on the pitch then? Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have both? Yeah, because then what you could do is you could have Neymar sat on the bench, which instantly raises the standards for Rashford. Or you could have Neymar starting in games and then Rashford coming on for half an hour, 20 minutes at the end. Wouldn't you rather have both?
I would love to have both. But again, you have not listened. Again, no, it's not there we go. You didn't listen to what I said. I would love, if we could go out this summer and get Harry Kane and Neymar and the midfielder we need. And we had the money to go and get all of them, and great. Extra player. But we are not going to have the money to buy all of them. So what I would rather do is keep Rashford and Garnacho on the left, invest in a number 9. Let me finish. And a number 9 who is available for the majority of the season that's going to score a colossal amount of goals, like a Harry Kane, like a Victor Osimhen. Spend that money on another world-class midfield player and go and buy a goalkeeper that we need with that money. We throw it into Neymar. Yes, he's going to bring us a lot of goals. And yes, it's going to make us better in the attack. But it means we miss out on a striker. We miss out on a new goalkeeper. And then overall, the team won't improve as much.
Neymar not play up front then?
What, as a striker? Number 9. So again, so he plays as the number 9, and then who replaces him when he gets injured?
Well, I don't know. Man City found the way to win a title twice without a striker.
This is what you're not listening to. You're honestly ignoring my logic, and I want to move on from it. But I can't believe how many times you're missing.
City won a title twice in a row with no striker, mate. So find a way. Maybe play Bruno as a false 9.
Maybe, but so you're saying you're still not listening to my point of view. Maybe we can do that. I would love Neymar at this club. Not if he's going to be the main linchpin of our attack, the main goal scorer, and he misses half the season. Because you're not going to get those goals that you need in that title running. You need someone that can I don't think anyone's going to be able to score more goals than Haaland, but you need somebody to come in and who can compete.
You think keeping Rashford and Garnacho on the left is a better option than signing Neymar and putting him on the left?
Because it will mean we'll miss out on other positions that also need to be improved. So I'd rather put the money into Victor Osimhen than Neymar. So what you're doing is you're saying you'd rather Rashford over Neymar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'd rather the money go on Victor Osimhen or Harry Kane.
Get rid of Sancho. You get what, 50 mil for him?
But
get rid of Anthony.
Lee. I don't want to dwell on this any longer. You're not listening. I'm not saying I want Neymar over Rashford. I'm saying I'd rather invest the money in Osimhen or Kane.
Well, yeah, cool.
There we go.
Cool. Mahrez, by the way, has got a better GA this season than Osimhen.
Who? I didn't hear you. What did you say? Who?
Mahrez. Somebody texted me. I don't know if it's true. Somebody texted me earlier and said Mahrez has got more GA this season than fucking Osimhen. Yeah, I don't know if I ain't even checked it. Maybe he's blagging. Yeah, but if that's true, yeah, that's insane because that guy's massively overhyped, by the way, that Osimhen.
Victor Osimhen.
He is mad overrated, mate. Yeah, but you'd rather him or Kane over Neymar. Why not get them all? I don't get it. It's
We haven't got the money to get them all. You think we've got £300 million for 3 new strikers? What are you talking about, Lee?
Well, get the owners to put your £1 billion back in and you'll be fine.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Talking nonsense. Talking dross. Let's go through some more. I don't want to. I know we've got quite a few super chats. I don't want to miss them. Stay or go Arsenal first team about first 15 players. I don't quite know what that means.
Most of them can go, mate. Most of them can jog on. Real talk.
This here says Real Madrid didn't win the European Cup in 12 years from 2002 to 14. Did their fans lower their standards during that period? Use your logical fallacy. It could safe though. Did Real Madrid drop to where Man United have dropped to? And no, they didn't. So the fundamental difference. I never lowered.
Real Madrid went 32 years without a European trophy. The manager then won one, and they sacked him. That's the standards, mate. No, don't worry, we're overachieving in second. It's cool.
No, but again, it's contextually a logical fallacy there. Lee, you didn't get anything by crying. You need to stop. You need top ballers or professionals working from top to bottom. Putting pressure won't matter. Look at PSG.
Well, their fans are relentless. They turn up at training, mate. Yeah, they kick off outside Neymar's house. They turn up outside the ground looking for Messi, trying to get him out. Yeah, maybe if the fans had a backbone at these Premier League clubs, these clubs wouldn't be sitting here all crying about Man City. Yeah, they'd actually be overtaking them.
Yeah, someone here says, Terry, you once said that clubs have money. Yeah, we do, but we haven't got 300 million to spend on 300 to 350 million to spend on 3 strikers. Plus, it puts the wage bill up by about £2 million a week. When we also need to improve the midfield, the defense, and goalkeeper. Again, even with new owners, we're not going to have that much money, my friend. Please learn football finance before you talk about it. Big up Lee and Terry. Lee, what's your opinion about our so-called manager Arteta bought a dog to the training grounds? Bought a dog at the training ground, so a family dog for Arsenal.
He's bought a dog and called it Win. Ironically saying this guy ain't done for 3 full seasons. Yeah, and yeah, who's picking up the shit? Does anyone know who's picking it up? Does anyone know who's picking that up?
Rob Holding, it has to be.
Well, he is the cheerleader, isn't he? So yeah, probably. Oh, I'll do it, boss. I bought you a latte from Starbucks on the way in. Yeah, what is going on at this football club? Does Real Madrid have a dog at training? Yeah, what about Bayern Munich? Do they have a little dog at training? It's the filter to enhance the feel-good vibes. What feel-good vibes? It should be a morgue. Yeah, they've won nothing for 3 years in a row. Why are we having feel-good vibes? Yeah, they should all be grabbing hold of each other, kicking lumps out of each other, saying, you bottled it, you bottled it, you bottled it. Oh, here you go, have a puppy. It's almost like when somebody passes away and it's almost like, you know, or something bad happens. You go, oh, I bought her a puppy. I bought my missus a puppy, you know, that buzz her up, give her feel-good vibes. Is this an elite level football club or a fucking circus, Terry? Like, it drives me insane. Why have we bought a puppy? What is that all about? There's enough crap on the pitch already without having a dog at training. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, mate. Honestly, it's insane. I don't get it. What happens when he gets sacked? Does he take the dog with him? Or does it get left there as like a little ornament? Like, I don't.
Like an ornament. I don't know. It's like Blue Peter. Like, remember they had the dogs on Blue Peter when we were kids. But we'll see. Lee doesn't understand sarcasm. Terry, this man is going to have a high blood pressure for just being on this show.
I don't understand sarcasm. I'm the master of sarcasm, my friend.
This here says, slow down, Lee. You are a YouTuber, not a soccer coach.
It's football, mate, not soccer. There we go. Cheers.
Lee, you're having a shake my head is what Marcy says. Sorry. Didn't used to like Lee, but he's right. Arteta out.
I get a lot of these, by the way. It's funny that because big up to you. I've had loads of them in the last couple of weeks. Oh, I used to think you were negative, but now I've come to my senses. I'll come back and tell you I actually think you're all right. I've had loads.
This is it. We need 5 signings and a world-class manager for.
Thank you. We do.
Tony here says we should take Neymar on loan, but Lee is right. The standards will be raised and everyone will. Yeah, in fairness, Tony, I did say there was talk about a loan last night. The loan was done and we weren't paying the majority of the wages and there was no obligation to buy. That changes the scenario differently. You know, investing 900 grand a week into a player that isn't available. It's a bit like Pogba. When people said this stuff, do you want to re-sign Pogba? I said 400 grand a week when I'm not sure about his injury record. I'm worried. Look how many footballs he's kicked this year. You know, if he would have been, it would have been such a waste of money. Invest it in a player. Availability is the best ability. Lee, you don't think, plus, well, it is easy to score goals in France. Lee, do you think Arsenal should sign Pogba? Ironically, that comes up next. Mad, I didn't realize that.
No. I see enough of him at Man United. Not for me. Not for me. Good player, very good player. But listen, he wasn't helped by a manager playing him in about 1 billion positions, but not for me, mate. Not for me.
I agree. Not even on his ability, injury problems. Lee, if Arteta reaches the Champions League final next season, is progress?
Yay. Do we get a trophy for that?
No. Neymar didn't win a trophy this season, so you should bin him, really.
Well, he's about to win the league, isn't he? What are you talking about? They're top of the league, mate.
I don't know.
What are you chatting about? He's won a trophy every year since 2009. They're top of the league. Unless I've missed something and they've magically lost 6 games or 2 games or whatever. Let me have a look at this. Nah, man. What are you chatting about? Oh, yeah, look. PSG are currently 6 points clear with 2 games to play. And they've got, even if they lose the 2 games, they've still won the title, mate. Unless the team turn around a 16-point swing in goal difference, a 16-goal difference, which could happen if they lose their 2 games, because they'd be losing by, say, 1-0 twice, and the other team wins 7-0. What are you talking about, man?
There we go. Sir Alex Ferguson's trophies had no FFP plus VAR. Pep is clear. In fairness, though, Man United never lost money under Fergie's in would have gone below the FFP threshold, so we were within it anyway.
Do you know?
Secondly, people always talk about VAR. We'd have knocked Porto out of the Champions League in 2004, and we'd have done
exactly. It wouldn't have been the special one, would it?
And we also would have beaten Chelsea to the league title in 2010, which would have been a 4-peat. So I wish there was VAR back in them days.
And do you know what's crazy? People talk. I see this. It was years. Admittedly, it was years ago. I think it was actually when Fergie retired. Yeah, I see something in an online newspaper, or whatever it was, and it said about Fergie time. Arsenal and Chelsea at that point had scored more goals in Fergie time than Fergie. Yeah, but another false narrative spun by the media. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? The funniest one I ever heard on TalkSport was they were debating this, and some journalist on the TalkSport said the thing with Fergie time is he said, "Where in the rules did it say that only Man United could score?" It's the best comeback ever. Shit. Lee is pants down for Ancelotti, like Arsenal fans are for.
All day long. Why wouldn't I be? Arguably the greatest manager in living history.
He didn't win this year, so he's crap this year.
Well, he did. He won the Copa del Rey. What are you talking about? And again, misinformation spreads.
Hang on a minute. Oh, sorry, I got confused, Lee, because earlier on you were having a go at my manager for being a loser, and he won a trophy this year.
I actually said your manager's had a better season than mine, but Ancelotti has won 6 trophies in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, he's won a league in 5 different leagues. He's won the Champions League 4 times.
Right. I'm not being serious.
I know you are, but what are people talking about? Like, why wouldn't I be pants down for Ancelotti? It's one of the greatest managers I've ever seen in my life.
In fairness, though, in the last 2 seasons, my manager's won 7 trophies as well. I love it. PSG do exactly what you want. Have fun turning up at players' houses, owners. Do you know what I would say? I did say this yesterday about Neymar, though. If it and again, this raises a different question. If it turned out that he wasn't really injured, he just didn't really want to play for PSG because it's a joke, then it's like, well, okay, he weren't injured. I'd only then kind of question, what if he comes here and doesn't want to play and goes, right, I'm off to Brazil for 2 months to party with my mum and sister and whatever it is they get up to together. I don't quite know. But maybe he'd fit in quite well at, I've had some deviants at the club before, to be fair, and they did all right. So, I mean, he joined Rudy and
George Best was like that.
Not in this era. George Best, I don't know, but I remember I was talking to him about Rooney was a bad guy. But George Best once didn't turn up to training or games for 2 weeks, and they tracked him down, and he was in a hotel room drunk with 3 Miss Worlds. Do you guys doing that now?
Is there 3 different worlds, Terry?
No, but they 3.
Oh yeah, of course there is. Of course there is. Yeah, there's the real world. There's Disney World. Yeah.
And then no, but yeah,
Arsenal World.
3 previous winners of Miss World. I think the dog should be called Bottle Jobs rather than Win. Our club becoming a joke is what Ab says here. This says Osherman 33 GA, Mahrez 30.
Sorry, my bad. There you go.
I mean,
for a player sitting on the bench pretty much every week, is it?
I love how you're tuning into GA now, my bro. With your Neymar argument and your Osherman.
I got sent it. I've just put it out there because you said Osherman.
Lee uses GA when it serves his purpose. He loves it.
I got sent it. I'll show you the text if you want.
And I never, ever, I hope, by the way, I will hold on to this forever, Lee. If you ever moan about a player's injury record again, I'm coming for you. Be like, what about the games when he plays, though? He's good enough.
When do I ever moan about injuries? That's part of the game.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. At some point in the future, you may. And I'll hold on to that.
Noted. Oh, yeah, I'll remember
right in there. Right in my big fat forehead, mate. It's going to stay right in there. It is. Viewers, I want to thank you all very much for tuning in today. Please do us a favor and smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. Lee, always a pleasure to talk and duel and fight and argue with you. It always is. Until next time, people, I'm on live tomorrow with Hussam about 4 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very